Keep your lines, keep your fake ass headlines, feeding lies. You don't like the way we live out here, buddy, we ain't changing, just to make it clear. Boots on dirt, yeah, we stand our ground. Small town roots don't get pushed around. You can shout it loud from your city throne, but this land right here, yeah, it's our home. You can talk your shit, you can take your shot, but there's one damn thing that we ain't forgot. I wave my flag, I don't give a damn. Red, white, blue, running through who I am. You can hate it, break it, try to drag it through the mud, but you ain't taking nothing from my patriot blood. I wave my flag.
Hey, don't want to say, how's it going? I played music at the beginning for the first 15 minutes.
I'll wave my flag till the very end. Hey, hey. You're burning down, think you're making change. All you're doing is showing who's deranged. We built this ground with blood and sweat, and we ain't done fighting for it yet. Granddad's name on a folded cloth. He paid the price, yeah, he paid it all. So if you think I'll hang my head, you're out your damn mind. I meant what I said. You can test the line, you can cross it too, but don't act shocked when it comes back on you. I wave my flag, I don't give a damn. Red, white, blue, running through who I am. You can hate it, break it, try to drag it through the mud, but you ain't taking nothing from my patriot blood. I wave my flag, let it crack in the wind. Stars still flying and we're still all in. You can scream, shut up, I scream it back again. I wave my flag till the very take your shot, run your mouth, give it all you got. We've been knocked down before, came back twice as hard. This ain't just a song, this is who we are. I wave my flag, I don't give a damn. Red, white, blue, till the day I'm gone, man. You can push, you can shove, you can hate all you want. We ain't backing down, no, we never have, we won't. I wave my the whole world see, this ain't just words, this is legacy. Try to shut us down, yeah, we'll just get louder. Stars and stripes forever, flying prouder. Flying prouder.
Okay, that's the first one.
There's a growing interest in socialism among.
I go to 3 o'clock. Something different I do now. I did it.
Steam on the deck, stars on the foam, engines breathing thunder on the deck in the glow. Catapult ready, green shirts hand in the night. Then a sailor becomes lightning and disappears into flight. He came to the Navy with a skyward dream and a heart that would not fold, chasing more than silver clouds, Chasing wings of gold, he learned the books, he learned controls, learned the weather, speed, and gear, learned that every calm voice matters when the carrier deck is near. Where the runway moves beneath you, and the ocean has no wall, where the deck is short and night is black, one mistake can cost it all. There are easier ways to fly now, there are safer roads to roam, but some are called to find the sky from a flat top far from home. Not every dreamer earns it, not every sailor stays. Only those with nerve and discipline can fly the Navy way. With a hand upon the throttle and their eyes upon red lights, they trust the crew, they trust the ship, they trust their wings at night. Fly Navy! From the carrier to the blue, fly Navy, with the red, white, and blue in view. Wings of gold, hearts of steel, where the ocean and the heavens meet, they launch from thunder. They land on faith, they guard our freedom through the sky and sea. Fly Navy, wings of gold. They call them legends for a reason. They call that school Top Gun, where the sharpest minds and fastest hands learn how excellence is done. But the movie never shows it all, the study and the strain. Families waiting through the silence, the friends who don't come home again. It's not the swagger, not the spotlight, not a nickname on a screen. It's the checklist and the training, and the courage in between. It's the crew chief on the flight line, it's the shooter by the steam, it's the deck crew moving miracles, so a pilot keeps the dream. Because no one flies solo there, no one owns the sky alone. Every launch is built by many hands, many sailors bring them home. Fly Navy, from the carrier to the blue, fly Navy, with the red, white, and blue in view. Wings of gold, hearts of steel, where the ocean and the heavens meet, they launch from thunder. They land on faith, they guard our freedom through the sky and sea. Fly Navy, wings of gold. There's a ball of light in darkness, there's a voice inside the wire, there's a heartbeat counting seconds, there's a deck alive with fire. There's a mother saying prayers again, there's a father standing tall, there's a folded flag that tells us freedom speaks for all. And when the catapult releases and the night gives way below, America goes up with them everywhere they go. From Midway's mighty courage to the oceans of today, the wings that rise from carriers still keep watch across the waves. Clear the deck, hold the line, jet blast rolling, stars align, hands up high, throttle forward, fly Navy, carry onward. Clear the deck, hold the line, wings of gold in the nighttime, from the sea to the sky. Fly Navy, fly Navy, from the carrier to the blue, fly Navy, with the red, white, and blue in view. Wings of gold, hearts of steel, where the ocean and the heavens meet, they launch from thunder. They land on faith, they guard our freedom through the sky and sea. Fly Navy, wings of gold. When freedom needs a watchman, where the ocean surges roll, send the ones who fly with thunder. Send the wings of gold. Steam on the deck, stars on the sea, one more launch into darkness, so the dawn stays free. Fly Navy, chains of gold.
Okay,
Cut.
Thank
we got our two bands, our cat and dog band, one of each. Two more left. These are about 4 minutes. Actually, 2.5.
Finished with my chew toy, cause I ripped the squeaker from inside. People think I'm insane, cause I bark at nothing in the night. All day long I wait by doors, but nothing seems to satisfy. Think I'll lose my mind if I don't see the man walking by. Catch that squirrel again. Oh yeah! I need you to throw the ball, the one that rolled behind the couch. I can't reach the kibble bag, I'm just a very anxious hound. Fake a throw and I will run, and you will laugh, it's not so fun. Catching my own tail is hard, I'm pacing circles in the yard. And so as you hear these barks telling you now of my state, I tell you to drop the food, I wish you would please fill my plate.
Okay, that was the dog band. Now our last one will be the cat video, band. Oh, where did I have it? Dang it. Ah. Okay. That's the last one here.
For a deal, now you can order a footlong in the Subway app and get another for free.
This one's 5 minutes.
mist of the morning, a shadow appears, a terror of might striking deep into fears. Made of muscle and fur, a majestic machine, the grandest mouser that the world's ever seen. To the top of the scratcher, he ascends to his throne. In the heart of the kitchen, his power is known. Hear the rattle of cable, the call of the wild. No longer a kitten, no longer a child. With the eyes of an eagle and claws made of steel, the rodent shall tremble, the birds, they shall kneel. Pride of a kingdom, a beast made of steel. The king of the carpet, making everyone kneel. He was made to rule the couch across the living room, to lead the midnight crazies, bringing absolute doom. The monarch of the house, the hunter of the mouse. 2,000 tons of pure attitude, unmatched in his nap time, unmatched in his mood. He strikes from the shadows, from under the bed, leaving a trail of destruction and dread. With a flick of his tail, and a twitch of his ear, the vacuum cleaner approaches in fear. Hear the rattle of kibble, the call of the wild. No longer a kitten, no longer a child. With the eyes of an eagle and claws made of steel, the rodent shall tremble, the birds, they shall kneel. Pride of a kingdom,
About 2 minutes.
a beast made of steel. The king of the carpet, making everyone kneel. He was made to rule the couch across the living room, to lead the midnight crazies, bringing absolute doom. The monarch of the house, the hunter of the mouse. The bowl is half empty, the tragedy reigns. He meows to the heavens, expressing his pains. A majestic roar from a mighty silhouette. He's the apex predator, the ultimate pet. Pride of a kingdom, a beast made of steel. The king of the carpet, making everyone kneel. He was made to rule the couch across the living room, to lead the midnight crazies, bringing absolute doom. The monarch of the house, the hunter of the mouse. He ruled the house, the king of the living room. Meow. Meow. Meow.
Enjoy banking with a twist of convenience. Part bank, part cafe.
Okay, those are the music videos for the beginning of the show for today. Bless America. God bless our President, First Lady, our U.S. troops, and first responder. Oh, 7-7. Rosie, you see that? So, yeah, Lucy, that from yesterday, I think it's still at 198. I finally got 180 on that one I've been waiting. I can't believe they're holding it that long. Should be over the thing. I can't how they do that. So we're gonna have a big lineup today, you guys. I went out. I got to go to the store to get a few things and got everything all I need for today and stuff. And we're gonna have a lot of great stuff again. A lot of good stuff again. But we are gonna do the shorts for a while. We got to get caught up on our short videos we haven't done. It's all been the 10-15. We do got now an hour, and I got some other 15-minute ones that are really good, 20-minute ones. So we're going to start off with an update from the fire out of Seattle. That's only a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get started early because I got a lot to cover. Hopefully everybody will be in today. George, how's it going? Another big day. We got now an hour, our biggest one. Seattle, I think. YouTube, another day with Hey, that was only a minute. Now we're going to yesterday's Wire channel. It's about 6 minutes. Oh, wait, let's do. You guys know Aaron Rodgers is making the news again. This is a 2-minute one.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Eric's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah. 111
You got a
times.
pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were. I am
Good one.
science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
baby.
And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding? Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
Nah, I
anything.
bet they didn't.
But
Knessa says this is big. Despite the Fauci hearing not getting much attention from the left-wing mainstream media, it has still been disseminated to the masses via local media, and now it has permeated into sports, which is one of the pillars of American culture. The truth has broken containment, and now even Disney-captured ESPN is being used to broadcast what they used to consider dangerous disinformation. The entire world, that cowardly little rat, Fauci, refused to answer the questions for the American people, and now the COVID scam is becoming more and more ingrained in the collective consciousness. The overtone window has shifted dramatically, and now it's not only acceptable to dislike Fauci, it's becoming courage. People are making plead the fifth jokes everywhere, even in non-political spaces. Imagine showing this clip to someone in 2020. It would scramble their minds. This just goes to show how far we've come in the ongoing informational, psychological, spiritual war.
was a good one. I guess guys, XT reports on TikTok now, doing short videos. That was a good one. This is yesterday's Wire channel.
No.
7 minutes.
This is The Wire for 2300 Zulu, August 5th, 2026. Precedence is routine. Information cutoff is 2200. Bottom line up front. Alleged drone attack reported targeting Ukrainian aircraft at a German airport. Merchant sunk in the southern Red Sea in drone boat attack. Man arrested in California ahead of President Trump's visit to golf club yesterday. Beginning with international events, in the Red Sea Horn of Africa region this morning, one merchant vessel reported being struck by an unmanned surface vessel, or USV, near the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. The UK MTO reported the vessel as being sunk during the attack. The incident occurred so quickly that the UK MTO was not notified during the attack, and the ship sank almost immediately after the incident. Analysts comment, if the Houthis are now using USVs during this phase of operations, this war just got a lot more serious. The Houthis have demonstrated this capability in the past, such as the war with the United States last year, but have refrained from using this tactic so far during this campaign. Sinking a vessel using a USV is a new step toward closing the Bab el-Mandeb, and the response from insurance companies will be an indicator to monitor as this choke point becomes a war zone once again. In Germany, this morning, a series of possible explosive drone attacks was reported at Leipzig-Halle Airport. Just before midnight, one quadcopter-type drone was observed operating over the airport, prompting drone procedures to be enacted and aircraft grounded. During this response, a search of the airport resulted in the discovery of a second quadcopter lying on the tarmac near a Ukrainian cargo plane. This drone appeared to contain an explosive charge, though no contact detonation apparatus was visible in the provided photos of this device. After this incident was concluded and flight operations resumed, a DHL cargo aircraft collided with a third drone of unknown type upon takeoff from this airport, which resulted in the aircraft declaring an emergency and diverting to another airport due to the damage to the airframe. On the home front in the United States, around the nation, cyber attacks on critical infrastructure continue. Over the past few days, water utilities in a total of 12 states have been affected by malign actors since last month. After the large-scale cyber attacks, which resulted in dozens of water districts being locked out of their systems in Minnesota, many more states have reported similar incidents. Georgia is the latest state affected by cyber attacks, and this afternoon, New Jersey also reported 2 water districts being targeted, both of which had to cut access to unspecified computer systems and switch to operating manually. Analysts comment. As with most infrastructure attacks, these incidents are not usually immediately disclosed to the public unless the public would find out about it anyway, so the timing of all of these cyber attacks is not really known. The Minnesota attacks last week were publicized immediately due to the immediate impact to the public, and now that more eyes are on the issue and various federal agencies have issued warnings of more attacks, more lower-level municipalities are disclosing that they had similar breaches over the past 2 weeks. As far as the malign actors behind these cyber attacks, it could be anyone. It does not take a nation-state level actor to breach a system that was using the default passwords or wasn't secured properly in the first place, but the targeting of a nation's water supply indicates the motive is probably in the military realm. No ransomware or demands have been noted, and no hacking group has claimed credit yet. These attacks were meant to directly take services offline, ruling out financial motives for the time being. In California, yesterday the DOJ announced the arrest of an individual tied to a possible security breach at the Trump National Golf Club in Los Angeles. The press release states that Janine John Tala was observed conducting surveillance by the initial Secret Service advance team that was sent to the golf club ahead of President Trump's visit. Tala was observed wearing an earpiece and taking photos of the security practices at the club, which drew the eye of the Secret Service. The suspect departed the facility and transitioned to his home, where he was apprehended by the Secret Service. During a search of his belongings, agents found a few firearms, a pair of binoculars, and a generic badge used by security guards. Additionally, authorities discovered several notebooks containing, quote, concerning statements at his residence. Analysts comment. The press release left enough ambiguity to make it difficult to determine what actually happened here. This could be extremely serious or just some idiot who got too curious. The mention of the earpiece is an important detail, because depending on what that earpiece was, this could be a big deal. The way the release is written, this could easily have been a Bluetooth headset, as is customarily displayed by those who prefer the rather garish utilitarianism of wearing at all times. Or this could have been a more substantial security threat that expands beyond just one person. If this individual was acting suspiciously, taking photos of security equipment, speaking into a, quote, radio signal device with an earpiece, and had vaguely described manifesto-esque notebooks at his residence, this was probably way more serious than just some guy walking around. Analyst comments for this wire. The drone incident in Germany will be heavily scrutinized, as this is a major escalation which can be interpreted in many different ways. First of all, it must be noted that the one extremely blurry photo of one drone may or may not actually show an explosive charge. What looks like an explosive charge could also be the battery pack. It's hard to tell based on the photo. If there were explosives on board, it would have been a very small charge and not the flying artillery shells that have become common during the war. At the wavetop level, it is hard to believe that a nation-state level actor, which has undeniably mastered the art of conducting attacks with SUAS platforms in war, would fail. If Russia was behind this attack and really intended to target Ukrainian aircraft on the ground in Germany, a 100% failure rate using multiple explosive drones is extraordinarily unlikely. As a result, it's possible that this was either a false flag attack intended to blame Russia, or it was Russia sending a message to NATO. Conducting a drone attack but deliberately leaving the detonator disconnected so that the debris is found and forensic analysis of the explosives leads back to a Russian factory would be a classic Russian message. That's their style perfectly. This is the Kremlin's version of per my last email and proves two very serious ideas. NATO's aircraft are vulnerable on their home turf, and Russia already has clandestine forces located near NATO airports poised and waiting to eliminate NATO aircraft before they ever get off the ground. That message is more valuable than taking out one Ukrainian transport plane. However, this whole saga could also be the Ukrainians trying to expand the war, continuing the trend that has been expanding for some time. Since the very start, Zelensky has been trying to draw the whole world into their war and has conducted attacks involving other European nations such as Monaco and Turkey, which have served as an attempt to bring other nations into the war to fight the Russians for them. From the Ukrainian perspective, this makes sense, and every nation on earth fighting such a nasty war would also use trickery in a similar manner. But for the DHL pilots who almost died and other collateral damage over the years, this is hardly reassuring. The truth will probably be indirectly told in the mainstream media by what rhetoric is being pushed. If this incident is downplayed and memory hold, it probably was the Russians. If the mainstream media sources in NATO countries start an information campaign to spin this in their favor, the chances of this being a fake attack go up. For everyone who does not have the ability to forensically analyze the devices themselves, the true culprit might never be known. All the while, the new Cold War becomes increasingly more hot every single day. This concludes The Wire for 2300 Zulu, August 5th, 2026.
Hey, that was yesterday. Now I got a 2-minute update on a breaking news on the other day. Then I got the gym report, 8 minutes.
When they crashed their U-Haul. Tisha Lewis is live from Sterling with more tonight. Tisha.
Marina and Jim, incredible details here. In fact, Fox 5 obtained these court documents detailing play-by-play what went down here at the data center construction site behind me. Here are the suspects. Take a look. 3 suspects have been caught. 21-year-old Jamal Micah Khalil Muskelly from Alexandria, 23-year-old Demetrius Sean Charlton of Falls Church, and 18-year-old Cordell Lamar Carter of Washington, D.C., all arrested and charged with grand larceny. 2 additional suspects got away after authorities say on Saturday the group entered a data center construction site with a U-Haul truck and removed, quote, a large amount of copper wire spools. Fox 5 has learned they loaded the copper wire spools into the U-Haul and then took off before crashing the U-Haul truck while being pursued by deputies. We're told the stolen copper wire recovered has a value of more than $100,000.
$100,000, again, is a large haul. So had they been successful, that would have been a big loss for the data center. But these spools are heavy and not something you could stick in your car. We're talking about having to use a truck or a van to be able to transport it. So they had to identify that the copper wire would be there. They had to secure transportation for it and find the opportunity to go in there and grab it. So this is something they probably went and did surveillance, a site survey, went and then showed up to grab what they could get at that time.
Former FBI Special Agent Ken Gray goes on to say data centers and their copper are the new target for criminals who once swiped the precious metal from homes and other construction sites. We're told two of the suspects are not first-time criminals. In fact, one was reportedly on parole, the other on probation, all appearing in court this morning. We're told only one was granted bond.
Okay, that was yesterday's breaking news. Now we got today's Jim report. 9 minutes.
For every morning. Whether you need something bold, craving the familiar, or just need a fresh start.
August 6, 2026. Hello, I am John Michael Chambers, and this is your Daily War Report. I ask you to listen with love, as where we go one, we go all. The following report has been provided in part by Guardian Daniel R. War Report. Sovereignty Decree. The synchronized network management of the alliance, how declassified signals from the Supreme Commander and the defense to validate land law manifestation, the strategic decryption of coordinated communication vectors on Truth Social, preconditioning of the Vanguard via official military directives, and the systematic encirclement of the information space Allied Enforcement Protocol. Let's begin. The visible indicators of the Allied operational design manifest themselves today unedited and inside the brightest spotlight of the global public. The recent coordinated signal chains executed by Supreme Commander Donald J. Trump and the sitting Chief Technology Officer of the Department of War are now not disconnected incidents or civilian coincidences. They form a strictly disciplined fifth-generation warfare communication matrix. When the highest technological authority of national security deliberately broadcasts the classical baselines of the alliance, such as Patriots in control, trust the plan, never surrender, fight, 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 alongside the urgent mandate, stay locked in, Patriot, no distractions, failure is not an option, it demonstrates unassailable broadcasting supremacy. These are exclusive frequencies designed to stabilize the consciousness of an awakened vanguard that has learned to isolate material forensic records within the chaos of the civilian stage. The signals are becoming unmistakable. Parallel to official intelligence registries, the Commander-in-Chief flooded the space with highly symbolic imagery documenting the executive destruction of the deep state. The picture at the side of JFK before the White House marks the public international law integration of epics and the fulfillment of the unfinished promise. The presentation of the physical rescue of George Washington from falling into the abyss under the predicate a time travel epic validates the total winding down of insolvent corporate shells and the return to genuine land law under the original Republic of 1776. The anchoring of Q drops via the fractured capital warning of panic in DC, coupled with planetary Space Force presidency as, quote, cosmic commander, and the unyielding plan trusted, demasks the absolute administrative panic inside the compromise swamp. The eightfold synchronized release of the marker Trump 2028 across distinct backdrops closes the strategic trap, defining the mathematical parameters of the transformation corridor, leading toward the official conclusion of the term on January 20th, 2029. These messages verify that the original Constitution of 1787 will be fully re-engaged prior to the official election sequences, as fraud retroactively obliterates any criminal term limits engineered by the deep state. The protective intelligence shields are physically breached. The over 120 presidential emergency powers operate inside the shadows, and the asset-backed quantum framework prepares the flawless distribution of the universal high income within daily routine. Every silent soul who preserved the faith is a foundational component of this unstoppable momentum. You know who you are. Your endurance was not meaningless. When the entire picture finally reveals itself to all, the world will need individuals who already walked through their personal hell and still chose that light. That is you. Stay calm, stay watchful, stay united. The sunrise of the dawning of the golden age is mathematically optionless. Be sure to watch our 2 new broadcasts here at jmcbroadcasting.com. Fireside Chat with JMC, second episode launches in August. This is a monthly, and launching in...
So that was 5 minutes. He talks about his sponsors, the last 3, I think. Okay, I got a 2-minute fraud update out of Pennsylvania, Lucy. I just found. We'll play her next. Yeah, we're going to go from the bottom. I'm going to start with that one and work the way down. There's short videos.
Remove the weapons from the people to control the people. It's a lot easier to control the people when they don't have the ability to fight back. All you got to do is look at Iran. No weapons, and the IRGC has all the weapons. Can the people fight back? It's very, very difficult. And every single gun control law that was put into place in all these different states, they're all unconstitutional. And eventually what we're going to see is the Second Amendment division of the DOJ. They're going to be bringing cases against every single one of these states as we move forward. And each one is going to be deemed unconstitutional. Before, this wasn't happening because, again, the deep state players controlled the DOJ. The DOJ wasn't going to go against the states that were pushing gun control because they were on board with this. That's their policies. So now everything has changed. And if you look at it, you can see the gun control groups, they're racking up losses across America. Gun control groups have been on a losing streak in the court this summer. The most recent defeat came when the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit shot down a suit against Texas filed by the Everytown for Gun Safety, trying to make it easier to prohibit concealed carry in private businesses. The legal losses over the last 6 weeks have been punctuated by the Supreme Court's June 25th ruling in Wolford v. Lopez, which struck down a Hawaiian law that barred concealed carry on private property without the express permission of the owner. A week prior to the Wolford ruling, the Supreme Court pared back the federal government's ability to prosecute marijuana users for firearms possession in Hemeny v. United States in a unanimous decision. In the Wolford opinion, Associate Justice Samuel Alito skewered the Hawaiian Supreme Court's invocation of the spirit of aloha to ignore the Second Amendment. The Third Circuit Court of Appeals threw out New Jersey's ban on modern semi-automatic firearms in July 17th ruling authored by Biden appointee. Giffords and Everytown filed amicus briefs in that case, defending New Jersey's law constitutionality. Pro-Second Amendment groups also won a legal victory in Virginia when state judges blocked the ban on modern semi-automatic firearms that Democratic Governor Abigail Spanberger signed into law on May 14th. The case has been placed on hold pending the Supreme Court upcoming decision in Viramontes versus Cook County, which is challenging a similar ban on Second Amendment grounds. They're all going to lose. Why? Because our history supports the right to bear arms, and it shall not be infringed. So when they look through the Federalist Papers, when they look through the history, and they see what the founders actually meant by it, every single thing the deep state players are trying to do to remove the weapons, it's all going to fail. You see, if you have a body that's going to follow the Constitution, follow the rule of law, and actually look through the history of that law, you're going to destroy all the gun control laws. It's that simple. We just didn't ever have a DOJ that was on the people's side. The DOJ was always on the deep state side. That's why you never saw this happen. That's why you're seeing it now. This is why Trump created the Second Amendment division, because he looked across the country and said, whoa, wait a minute. Look what they did here. They are violating our constitutional rights. Now with DOJ 2.0, it makes it a lot easier to reverse all of this. Because remember, the DOJ is put in place to do what? To make sure the states abide by the Constitution of the United States. If you don't have a body enforcing this, who's enforcing it? Nobody is. Yes, there could be lawsuits, but again, the DOJ is now going after these different states. And you're going to see over time, you're going to see more and more of these cases. And the deep state players, the gun control groups, they're going to lose. Remember, these gun control groups, they're basically going against the people using our own money. Think about that for a second. So the deep state is funding this, trying to remove the weapons, violating our constitutional rights, and they're using our money to do it. Again, it's the money laundering. It is failing.
And finally, I'm glad I got him on TikTok. Is better. His shorts are better than his 26-minute ones, I think. If Kay likes the XP report, if she's listening. Thanks, Swords. I just want to get everybody to know the news every day. The people that can't get it. Ray, Kay must be lurking right now. Okay, what do we got next? Yeah, this was the one, Lucy.
In various fraud schemes involving over $4 million in claims to Medicare and Medicaid. And Shana, the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office says the impact here is deep and wide-ranging.
Yeah, that's exactly right. 19 defendants, along with the Philly-based home health care company, are facing charges, and the message is clear tonight from the federal government. If you defraud Medicaid or Medicare, your time is up.
The era of getting rich off the backs of our programs for our sick, elderly, and disabled is over.
Assistant Attorney General Colin McDonald making it plain Tuesday after the announcement of an avalanche of charges against 19 Pennsylvanians and a Philly-based home health care company for fraudulent Medicaid payments.
Today, we are announcing criminal charges against 19 defendants for fraudulent home health care schemes that targeted Pennsylvania's Medicaid fraud program and resulted in over $4 million of fraud.
The home health aides accused of draining millions of taxpayer-funded dollars from Pennsylvania's Medicare program for thousands of hours of services unrendered and hours that were never worked. The program, under normal circumstances, allows for a trusted friend or relative to be paid to care for an elderly or disabled person instead of their loved one receiving care in a nursing home. But as the investigators say, the program has been systematically taken advantage of.
Used properly by honest citizens, the program allows those with physical ailments to be cared for by those they trust the most. But infiltrated by greedy and deceitful opportunists, this program becomes a money tree.
An example of one of the schemes, 2 home health aides and 2 purported patients causing over $400,000 in false claims to Medicaid.
Across these cases, we have home care services billed that were not rendered by aides that were dead, that were in prison, that were selling drugs, aides who billed over 24 hours a day repeatedly for a year.
The Department of Justice charging more than a dozen people for their...
Okay, Lucy, that's another big update there. We were saying the other day out of Pennsylvania, where Lucy's from. Okay, our TikTok lady, one of them.
Fake food. Have you really dug in to see what these companies' names are? I'll just give y'all several examples. Eden Brew, Eden Genetics, Project Eden, Eden Materials. And what about Resurrect Bio or Rainbow Crops?
Another good one that we listen to every day.
Manna for bakers, Manna for millers. And of course, Genesis. I'm sure y'all see the connection. Genesis, Eden, Resurrect, Rainbow, almost as if they're trying to imitate God. We know that God supplied us with this beautiful earth where we can grow our own plants, pick our own fruit and vegetables, and make our own meals. And that was God's way, the healthy way. And now they're trying to sever that connection with God. And this is also why it is so important to pray over your food, because unless you raise your own cattle, grow your own food, you're probably eating fake stuff. Listen up. So if y'all noticed all these ag...
That was an important one there. She comes on a lot. She does it like 2 minutes later.
fails that has now passed away. And a lot of people don't understand the truther community, so I kind of want to shed some light on this. There are many influencers on social media, like tons. But when it comes to the influencers that are in the truther community or Christian community, it is so much different. I was a truther before I surrendered to Christ, and my journey started in 2017. And that's when I started my YouTube channel. It wasn't until 2021 when COVID hit that I started doing videos on TikTok. And that is when I found my community. Because for years I tried to talk to my family and friends about the things that I was finding out, and they wouldn't listen. And after I surrendered my life to Christ, shortly after I joined TikTok, that is when I started doing Christian content. And a lot of the truther community is attached to the Christian community on these apps. I don't think many people understand the feeling you get when you find a community that thinks like you. Is actually awake and knows the evil that is in this world. Because a lot of people like to turn a blind eye to it and don't want to think about it. They'd rather ignore it. When we, truthers and Christian content creators, we like to expose it because that's what we're called to do. You see, a lot of people that are in the Christian community and the truther community, we consider the people in this community, whether it's the followers or other content creators, as family. It's just like when you think about being a Christian, you are part of the body of Christ, and they become your brothers and sisters. This is the same concept. And people in these communities are very open-minded people. God has taken that veil over our eyes, and we see a lot of things that other people don't. We notice a lot of things that other people don't. We notice things that don't seem right. We're going to ask questions because that is what we do. We are researchers and we analyze everything, especially when one of our own pass away, especially when we see it happening so much. Because most of us know that if we're telling the truth on here, we are a target. But as a Christian content creator, I know I'm covered by the blood of Jesus, and he's got me. So I do not live in fear. I know I was called to do this. And I know this by the fruits that I have produced over the years. And yes, it can be upsetting to people when we speak out about things that we want answers to. But if we've been given a gift by God to do what we've been doing, feelings are not going to stop us. There has been plenty of times on this app that my life has been threatened. Just because I hurt somebody's feelings from the truth I was speaking. And you know what? It didn't stop me, because you cannot stop something God has ordained. Even when people get mad at you because they don't understand what that type of passion feels like. Joe Fales was a great guy, and he was loved by millions. There were so many people that watched every video, read every post that he posted. And there were also so many followers that actually met him. He was loved by so many people, especially the truther community. So I just wanted to make this video for people that get upset because we speak out on things. So many people get so upset about things they don't understand. Just remember, anybody that's in the truther or Christian community is part of my family and everybody else in that community.
Wow, those are good ones today from her. Go. I got some other ones somewhere. Okay, we got our first Trish video. We'll be doing now here shortly.
For good.
Iran, you got the message. Iran, a deal is allegedly quite close, though, for the Strait of Hormuz. That's what's being communicated today. If you look at oil markets today, you see that oil is continuing to move down because negotiators are getting allegedly rather close to a deal with Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. So wouldn't that be great? Look, I say this with a level of caution. And I say that because every single time we're reporting, yeah, they're close. What do you know? They're lobbing a few drones and boom, they try and take out some ships. And the next thing you know, we're back to square one. So deep breath. If you're an investor like me, maybe you even after 2 days of oil trading down, you went in and bought just a little bit just to hedge it, because I feel like I need to hedge right now because I don't really know where this is going. I really don't, because I don't trust Iran. Fundamentally, do not trust Iran. They want some kind of deal here where they're going to get access to the strait. They're going to be able to yay or nay any of the boats that are going through. They're not going to actually be able to collect tolls. Marco Rubio was very, very forthcoming on that yesterday and stands by that. You're not going to be able to collect any tolls, but they have some kind of deal that they've worked out with Oman. And so they're basically with Oman going to pair up, and they're going to be able to decide on who actually is coming through. And part of that negotiation process for them is basically getting some sanctions relief, because they want to be able to sell their oil to everybody, right? And hey, like in a perfect world, great. Yeah, you sell your oil to everybody. It would be really nice, because that's really going to bring the oil price down. It would, okay? It's a global commodity. But at the same time, we got to be cautious about this, because we don't want Iran making more money hand over fist that's going to land us in a situation where they're then able to use those funds to build up their nuclear arsenal. So part of this deal is going to be, hey, Iran, you have no chance in HELL of ever getting anywhere near any kind of nuclear weapon. I kind of look at what we're doing with Saudi Arabia. If you notice, you have American nuclear power plant companies coming in. They're going to help them with uranium that they're going to be able to use for a nuclear power plant there. It's a very interesting, very telling situation. It may be something that they're doing in part to kind of counterbalance any threat that they may see coming out of Iran. But Iran is getting closer and closer and closer to a deal that would allow for the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, would not allow them to charge any tolls, and would not allow them to engage in any kind of nuclearization process. Let's go to the president who spoke last night with Fox on the issue. Take a listen.
Iran, as an example, will never have a nuclear weapon. They already can't, but it's going to be formal. The strait's going to be open very soon, or they're going to get hit very hard, and then the strait's going to be open. And we were going to a tremendous attack, the biggest since World War II. And they called me and said, very politely, please, can we talk? Can we talk? They didn't want. And I said, yes, we can talk. Let's get it done. Finally, let's get it done. This should have been done by other presidents for 50 years. You know, you keep hearing 47, but that's been for 3 years now. It's been over 50 years. Other presidents or other countries should have been able to do this. And I did something that I had to do, because if they had a nuclear weapon, this whole world would be a different place.
You better believe that. You can play it again, Sam, right? If they had a nuclear weapon, this whole world would be a very, very different place. Thank you. I'm glad the picture's looking good now. Wonderful news to hear. I don't think they wanted the Oxford comma stuff getting out, right? But anyway, he's right to say, look, they can't have a nuclear weapon. If they were close to having a nuclear weapon, and look, that's all the intelligence reporting we've gotten, and Israel apparently was very convinced that they had the ability to put a nuclear weapon together quite quickly. I mean, they were like weeks away. And let's not forget, they actually told MSNBC, like one of their guys went on MSNBC, figures MSNBC, right? Or whatever they call it now, the Miz network, Miz Now. So he went on MSNBC, I still call it. What can I say? I'm a creature of habit. Goes on MSNBC and says, yes, I don't want to brag, but we're like at 60% enrichment for uranium, which puts them very, very close to really and truly having a nuclear weapon. And that's what they want, right? Because they want to dominate the whole darn region. Well, we don't want that. We can't allow that, because let's face it, if they dominate the whole darn region, then they're going to make Saudi Arabia, our ally, squashed. Israel, forget about it. And all our other allies, UAE, everybody, is suddenly then in jeopardy. And then you get China and Iran and maybe Russia taking over the whole shop. That's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. But, listen, we're not going to do a dumb deal. We're going to do a good deal. Okay, we're only going to do a good deal. And I feel good because Marco Rubio is back in the thick of it with these negotiations. And he made it very clear while meeting with the Paraguayan counterpart there yesterday. We did a deal with Paraguay too, which is good, because Paraguay actually had a little section of it in this tri-border region that I've traveled to down in Ciudad del Este, right near Iguazu Falls, actually lovely in Argentina. But it's like a no man's land, and they had a ton of terror financing that was going on down there. Basically anything goes, everything was for sale there. And it was sort of an all cash industry. And basically a lot of that money was going right back where? Oh, to Hamas and Hezbollah. So Marco Rubio is knocking that one out totally of commission. And when he was meeting with his Paraguayan counterpart, he had this to say on Iran. Listen.
Nonetheless,
Okay.
I think that there's a conversation and a negotiation that we are involved in.
Can you see that first video?
And Iran on how warships can be able to go through there safely in the short term as we move towards these longer term talks about denuclearization. And suffice it to say that there's progress made in those talks, but not finality yet. We're hoping that will happen very shortly. Okay, thank you guys.
Okay, so that was yesterday. He said there's progress going on. The president, meanwhile, as of last night, when he was coming back from LA on the tarmac, he said, look, I think we're going to have it back open in 48 hours, guys, 48 hours. So that's why you're looking at oil markets showing, again, some softness in the price of oil. Not quite like yesterday. I mean, yesterday when I was talking to you, we were looking at basically a decline of somewhere around 6% in oil. And right now, as I come to you live, we are not seeing quite that level of downturn in oil prices. But
Aaron Rodgers made fun of Fauci, but I got one coming up with Benny. Benny has one 9 minutes with Fauci with Rodgers. We'll play that next.
We're seeing something. We're seeing something which tells you, well, down 0.6% on crude right now. So it tells you gold actually up 4%. Interestingly, silver up 3.6, copper up 1.6. I should also point out the market doing quite nicely again. The Dow up 0.7%, S&P kind of flat but in positive territory, and we're seeing a little bit of pull off there in the Nasdaq. That's in part related to SpaceX. I think we told you not to buy that IPO. Just saying. you wait for it to go down rather than, which leads me to remind you, if you want to know what you should be buying, please check out my model portfolios. They're at 76research.com. I get 3 of them: American Resilience, Inflation Protection, Income Builder. You can see all those stocks doing really, really nicely. Those are our top performers in those model portfolios. You can get all of them at 76research.com. If nothing else, just get the 76 reports, $1 a month for the first 2 months. It goes to $9.95 thereafter. You can cancel anytime. So, at worst, you're out $1.
Well, actually, it is over. She's just doing her sponsor. So that's the first one. I got a short one. I got 2 more, Trish, but I'll get back to you later. So we can get the one Benny in. And then we're going to do the one big one, the Mel video. I had a video. I got to find it, Lucy, the one I gave you about Dearborn again. Hope I can find it. You might have to send it back to me. My brother-in-law said I'm only 45 minutes away from where all that mess is, so I'm under an hour. Get up there, buddy. Come on. Go.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
9 minutes.
Look at this totalitarian communist dictatorship. Orwell, 1984. I can't believe they're able. NFL fines Aaron Rodgers for attending a party while unvaccinated. They were going through and finding people, roasting them on SNL. Look at this, right? Of course. Here we go. Saturday Night Live roast Aaron Rodgers over vaccine stance. It's my body and my COVID. It's so funny. It's not funny. It's like Jake Tapper's response to this. Jake Tapper seethes with anger as Aaron Rodgers not vaccinated.
Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers now admitting he has not been vaccinated against coronavirus after contracting the virus earlier this week, but instead of Admitting that he had misled the public to believe he had been vaccinated, Rodgers is now blaming the, quote, woke mob for how he's being treated, perhaps creating a new definition for the term cheesehead.
How'd that work out for you, Jake Tapper? How'd that work out for you? How's your ticker, Jake Tapper? Your ratings, Jake Tapper. Aaron Rodgers, with the absolute napalm mic drop on Dr. Fauci during NFL interview. Absolute coward. I'm pleading the fifth. You've got to be kidding me. It was on Pat McAfee's show, and it's gone completely viral, man. No sports reporters apologize to Aaron Rodgers, no. Aaron Rodgers is on the right side of history. Aaron Rodgers did win. Sports writers will not apologize, sadly. They should be made to, though. Aaron Rodgers calling ESPN out on ESPN's own broadcast is just a sight to behold. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, in all of its glory.
But we talked about a couple times today, because you've been very open about coming back for this year, last rodeo, and you talked about your wife saying, hey, have another year. Mike McCarthy being here, obviously a big deal. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Like gotta love that guy. Okay. Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Eric's back, baby. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times at the White House? What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend to that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding? Yeah! Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
I
anything.
bet they didn't.
But on that note,
And there was another scandal this offseason, too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your cap? Did your network spend on
our
that?
network.
I wish I
How
could
much time did you
Go
spend?
back to Fauci.
This is awesome.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and science.
Hold on now,
Who's
Eric.
spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous. You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note,
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him,
What are you going to say about me
no,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say
I
now?
want to let you know, it's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last
It's
couple.
been a great life and a great career. And it's nice to be sitting on this side now, especially after that coward played the fifth over 100 times.
Okay.
I thought you had a pardon there, Tony. Why couldn't you answer one question the entire time?
Okay,
Why
we
not?
got 4 minutes until the heart out.
Yeah, I got 4 more minutes in, but we keep it. We keep it going.
Anything else?
I got at least 4 minutes.
Okay,
There's a lot of silence, though, but I will say this: I gotta give flowers to Stephen A. Smith, my old friend Stephen A., because he was man enough to actually admit and apologize to Kyrie Irving.
Yes,
So I got to
This
give a shout
one's
out to
off
my guy
Betty's
Stephen
video.
A. You are not a coward. I appreciate you.
Okay, can we talk about? We'll wrap up that
Other
conversation.
than that, there's been a lot of silence. I feel like, like 19 seconds about one subject. Oh, no, don't talk about that. We can talk about Rex Ryan's foot fetish, but please don't talk about, anything else right now. Don't talk about, any scandals involved. Don't talk about, pop culture. Talk about Taylor and Travis's wedding. Yeah, what do the insiders know about that? But don't talk about, actually has to do with our business or righting wrongs.
Can we
from the
remind
past.
people?
Just
Can
let
we
it go.
remind people a little bit why you're doing all this? Can we remind people?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so in 2020, okay, we were there for all of this.
2021.
Sorry,
But it
2021.
really went down.
Okay, there was a 500-page report
Twice.
that Aaron looked into with many doctors about his body and said vaccination. Now, that became a talking point of COVID, I believe, around the entire globe. And the only reason why I know that is because
I was coming on the show every week. We were talking.
I was called a murderer because I was platforming Aaron Rodgers, who was making the decision that was best for himself. So as soon as I see all this start happening with Fauci, I knew that, boy, you were certainly having a time because your name was slandered. You were called a murderer. You were called a lot of things. And
I was endangering my teammates and this and that. Now look what happened. We talked about they suppressed early treatments. They lied about where it came from. Tony Fauci's writing in his journal about, I don't want to, create any vaccine hesitancy if I tell them what the actual stats are. How many papers have been written? How many McCulloughs and Malones and all the great doctors out there who actually did treatment on the front end and repurposed drugs that are the safest profiles in the world. But no, Tony Fauci pushing his medicine just like he did back in the 80s. And now when you have an auto pen pardon.
Hey, Jay, you know what happened.
You have an auto pen pardon. 2 minutes. But and you can't answer one question.
Hey, now, real quick,
not even your name. Come on. What are we doing?
Can we do this real
and how
quick?
much time did the network spend on that?
Hey, can we do something for you real quick?
How much time?
Hey, can we do something for you real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, way to stand on your truth throughout the entirety of that thing.
Oh, I feel great about it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you should. I feel great about it.
Congratulations.
I told you I'd be on the right side of history when I had that mustache that we were in New York.
Yeah, but you had that Halloween party though that killed a lot of people. Remember? You had that Halloween party.
Oh yeah, we were a 10,000 square foot warehouse with 21 people, and the I Am Science has 6 foot of distancing. That'll be a good thing. If we can scare them enough, they'll probably take this vaccine that's had 0 trials done for it. You have no idea what the consequences are. There's no informed consent. You can't even look at the insert to know what you're doing. They're not even, pulling the plunger back to make sure that they got it in the right spot in the arm. Like, what are we even talking about here? The insanity. I sat here amongst a lot of actually brave Americans who avoided the $1 trillion propaganda campaign that was hijacked on the American public. And look at us now.
Hey, way to go.
Do you have anything to say? Do you have anything to say?
Absolutely spicy. Aaron Rodgers with the absolute shot. I'm going to plead the fifth. Absolute clown coward, Tony Fauci. Total coward. Who wins in the end? Who won in the end culturally? It's amazing. Things can change, and they do. It's a remarkable thing. Beautiful. Aaron Rodgers, massive fan of that guy. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.
Okay, that was the second one there. I got a 12-minute one I want to play. 1 minute couple there on TikTok. It's 12 minutes. It's a new one. They just came out with another new one. And then we'll play Mel. If I can find it. Dang it. You guys remember this one here? It's a new one, I think. It was new.
It's arriving very, very soon.
It is. And honestly, you are so ready for this moment.
You really are. And we need to talk about this right now directly with you because this is not some
Just
random
1 day ago.
communications failure. It's not a solar flare or an accident.
No, nothing.
It is a surgical, highly orchestrated window, and it is designed specifically to dismantle this this third density parasitic overlay that has literally trapped humanity for lifetime.
Exactly. I'm so glad you're laying it out like this. It is a completely engineered frequency fracture.
Yeah.
And, while the outside world, the sleepers, while they perceive this as absolute chaos, we know better. We know it's just the necessary wobbling and cracking of a completely false reality. It's making room for your true memory to finally sharpen.
It really is. I mean, the best way I can describe this deep, unshakable feeling I have right now, knowing this architecture is coming down, it's like standing in front of this incredibly beautiful ancient stone building, right?
Oh, I love this.
But for your entire life, it's been covered up by this rotting, ugly wooden scaffolding.
Yes, just completely obscuring the truth.
Exactly. And the cut, the 72 hours, it's just the violent, purposeful pulling away of that dead wood. It looks like destruction, but it's actually just revealing what was always there.
That is so true. It's the dismantling of the cage. And knowing this, holding this truth in your heart right now, it is your greatest armor.
It really is. Let's talk about phase 1.
Yes, the first 12 hours.
Right. So in hours 0 through 12 of the cut, the internet and the main communication cables are going to go completely dark, just gone.
Total silence on the digital front.
Exactly. No Wi-Fi, no cell data.
Yeah.
But, and this is the crucial part to understand, the mainstream media and specific background television channels will be deliberately left on.
Which is so manipulative, but we see exactly why they're doing it.
Right, because those channels are going to be absolutely flooded with intense manufactured panic. You are going to see nonstop false blame.
Yeah,
narratives.
she's at the dentist
Oh, the
appointment.
fear loop. It's going to be so heavy.
It is. They are going to specifically target geopolitical actors. You'll see headlines screaming about Russia, China, Iran. They are going to tell the world that imminent existential attacks are happening.
And I just want to say to you, our dear friend listening, we know how jarring this might feel at first, especially for the unawakened people around you.
Yeah, they are going to be terrified.
They really will be. But you have to remember, this is merely a manufactured confusion loop. It's an illusion. These geopolitical narratives, they are just hollow ghosts of a dying system.
Hollow ghosts. I mean, that is exactly what they are.
Right. It's just the parasite throwing shadows against the wall, trying to test your grounding. They want you to consent to the fear.
And you just don't have to. You do not have to consent to it, because before those screens even start looping that panic, you are actually going to feel this happening in your own vessel.
Yes, the physical signs. This is so important.
It is. Your physical body is a multidimensional antenna, and it is going to register these myological and atmospheric precursors. Let's talk about the static buildup.
Oh, the static. I can almost feel it just talking about it.
Right. Right before the cables go dark, you are going to feel a subtle but very distinct buzzing right at the base of your skull, like an old television set left on in an empty room.
Exactly. And the electronics in your house are going to start glitching.
Yeah, unexplainable power surges, your phone freezing up. But then right after that static peaks, you'll hit what we call the drop in tone.
A drop in tone is intense.
It really is. It's this sudden, profound wave of deep physical tiredness. You'll find yourself yawning unprovoked, pulling in extra oxygen.
Your chest gets so heavy.
Yeah, your chest gets heavy, and if you look outside, the sky is going to look muted, like it's flat or artificial. The contrast of reality just turns down.
And please know that these symptoms are absolute proof that the parasite overlay is glitching. It means you are attuned. You are feeling the frequency fracture.
You're not getting sick. You're just sensitive to the shift.
Exactly. And, watch the animals around you. They feel this with pure, unfiltered sensitivity.
Oh, the animals always know.
They really do. You'll see birds flying in these erratic, just totally nonsensical patterns because the magnetic grids are shifting. Dogs are going to pace, and they're going to seek out calm souls like you for stability.
They are going to glue themselves to your side.
They are. And cats, well, cats are going to completely disappear into the darkest, quietest spots in your house to ride out the dimensional shift. So as a caring friend, I just want to remind you, leave out a little extra water for them in those safe spots.
Okay. That is such a loving reminder. Just take care of them.
Yeah, just tuck them in. And, for your own physical vessel, when that static buildup starts to get heavy and the air gets thick right before the pop, just sit flat on the earth.
Thanks for coming
Put
in
your
today.
hands
We'll
on
see
your
you tomorrow.
thighs and just take 3 immensely deep breaths. I do this myself. Just let the static wash over you and ground into the floor. It works every time.
It's so simple, but it is the most powerful thing you can do. Just hold your center. Because once we cross that 12-hour mark, we enter phase 2.
Hours 12 through 36.
Right. And this is when the reality of what we call the wave begins.
The wave is, it's going to be a lot to witness.
It is,
Yeah.
because without their digital pacifiers and with the media screaming about World War III, the sleepers are going to panic. You are going to see massive crowd surges.
Oh, absolute chaos in the public spaces.
Yeah, supermarkets, banks, fill stations, they will be completely overwhelmed as people just scramble for physical survival.
Which is so heartbreaking to see, but we have to see it for what it is.
We do. And this is where we have to be very clear about the difference between resonating souls,
the true sparks of origin, like you and the NPCs.
The non-player characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
The background programs. During the wave, you are going to see the NPCs heavily glitch because they don't have true souls. They rely on the AI scaffolding of the Matrix to tell them what to do.
And when that scaffolding drops, they just lose it.
They completely lose it. Some of them are going to lash out with aggressive hysteria. Others are just going to wander the streets in this vacant, silent daze.
And this is why my most urgent, loving guidance for you right now is this. You must completely avoid large crowds and panic zones during this time.
Do not go to the grocery store.
Exactly. There's nothing for you to fix or solve out there. Your only task is to stay safely anchored in your small pockets of community, your home.
Stay in your sovereign light.
Yes. And please, do not let the military presence frighten you.
Oh, that's a huge point.
It is. Because you will see NPC-controlled military forces deployed out there. But I promise you, there's absolutely no reason to fear them. They are just visual props in a crumbling theater. They cannot harm a resonating soul who is standing in their power.
They are just code running a script. That's all they are.
There.
Even knowing that, you are going to experience what we call the sharp edge during this phase.
The sharp edge, yeah, that empathic weight.
Exactly. Because you are deeply
2020.
empathic, you will feel the ambient panic of the collective pressing against your auric field. You're going to have these short adrenaline bursts.
Your heart might just spike out of nowhere.
Right. Your heart will race and it's going to feel incredibly dense. But you have to know those feelings aren't yours. You are just feeling the sleeping NPCs frantically scanning for intelligence.
They're looking for someone to tell them what to do.
They are. But the wild thing is, during these first 48 hours, they will completely refuse to admit they were wrong. Their pride won't let them ask you for help, even as their whole paradigm shatters around them.
It's like watching a child throw a tantrum. You know, you just have to hold immense compassion, keep a detached heart, and just observe. You don't need to force them to wake up.
No, you can't force them. You just hold the line. Because then we move into phase 3. This is hours 36 through 72.
The transition.
Yes, the opening hour. This is where the physical cracks in the illusion really start to appear. The false flag storylines on the television, the war narratives, they're going to wobble.
They just can't sustain the energy anymore.
Exactly. The lies become sloppy. They become completely contradictory. The truth just starts leaking out of the seams of the broadcast. And you will literally feel the shift in your physical space. You will enter the silence before the snap.
Oh, I get chills just thinking about this moment. It is profound.
It is the most beautiful, strange stillness. You'll hear a high-pitched ringing in your ears. The distant noise of traffic will just fade into absolute nothingness.
The wind just pauses there.
It does. It's like nature itself is holding its breath. And then the remaining corrupted infrastructure goes entirely dark. The final severing happens.
And that's when you feel it. The atmospheric pop.
The pop, yes.
It is just immense joy. You
Okay.
will physically feel this sudden drop in pressure, and you will hear a literal pop in the air around you. It's the sound of the density breaking.
The electromagnetic dome just collapsing.
Yes, it clears the entire energetic field. And I
Yeah.
promise you, in that exact moment, your soul memory is going to sharpen with crystal clarity.
It's like taking your first real breath of air.
Exactly. All that heavy, false NPC code just flickers out,
Hmm.
and you will remember exactly who you are and why you came here. It is just pure cellular relief.
It is the ultimate validation.
Uh-huh.
But, we have to look at the grand strategy behind all this because some people wonder, why do we have to go through the 72 hours of chaos at all?
Right. Why not just turn it off quietly?
Exactly. Why not just wake up and it's done? Well, you have to understand the reality of the mega breakdown. This is a highly controlled demolition of the parasitic infrastructure.
Meticulously planned.
It is. It's designed specifically to prevent total societal collapse because humanity has been addicted to the artificial pacing of this 3D world for millennia. If the White Hats just unplugged the Matrix instantly without warning, the shock to the collective psyche would be fatal.
It would be like yanking an IV line out of a patient. It would just tear them apart.
Exactly. So this manufactured chaos, this staged World War III or alien invasion narrative that they're going to pump through the TVs, it is entirely designed to force a global pause.
It derails everything.
It shatters the collective illusion of the daily grind. It cuts the connection between the parasites and their influence over public perception.
And I just have to say, with absolute conviction, this is why you cannot fear the chaos. This pause perfectly clears the stage for you, the resonating souls, to anchor your light You are holding the foundation steady while the sleepers go through the withdrawal.
You are the anchor. That is your purpose in this window, and everything we're walking through this entire 72-hour process, it is just preparing the realm for the ultimate extraction.
The cleanup.
Yes, the removal of the dark architectures. It's making way for the return of our true solar families and the white hat lockdown that secures the earthly plane.
The quarantine is finally lifted.
It is. And that lockdown, that clearing of the field, is the direct precursor to the emergency broadcast system.
EBS. Oh, it's going to be so beautiful.
When every screen and every radio on this earth locks onto a single broadcast of pure, unfiltered truth, that is what this 72-hour cut is building towards.
It's the moment the whole world finally sees what you've known all along.
Exactly. So as we prepare for this imminent shift, I want you to hear this directly from us. You are so incredibly safe.
You really are. You are protected.
You are ready, and you are being so lovingly guided as you step into this profound new reality. Because your entire life, all the alienation, the searching, the feeling that you didn't quite belong in this matrix, it was all for this.
Every single moment of it.
You have spent your life connecting the dots and activating the 21st memory, preparing your vessel to hold the light when the world goes dark. You have already won. We are just waiting for the snap.
Okay. That's the second one we played with that one. That one was yesterday's. So, yeah, we're following that channel. Okay, let's get the big video. Mel, Boz, you lurking? Only an hour.
Morning, morning, morning. Oh, good afternoon. I should just about say. But how is everyone today? And thank you for the ladies in the house as we go through this little process. Where is God's Elf? Did she come back out or come back in? God's Elf, are you there, darling? I can't see you up the top of my screen like I normally do. Did she just drop out and come back in?
She dropped out, but she'll be back.
She'll be back. Okay, I'll just wait for her to come back in, darling. Thanks, Rob. How is everyone? There she is. Hello, sweet. How are you?
I am good. I was having some difficulties. I think I'm in now.
Yeah, that's cool. I was too, actually, but I was one of the first people on here today, which is quite unusual. Anyway, that's awesome. We are ready to rock and roll. We still got a few people coming in and joining us on this beautiful Wacky Wednesday. First of all, just a reminder, of course, as I said, just been speaking to people in the background. Just remember there is warnings of many, many scammers out there. There's also many, many sites that even though they say that I'm the owner, this is what they do. They claim everything, and please be very, very wary. We'll put that warning up before and after every show. Just to remind people that even when sharing it, could you please share those other channels? We would really sincerely appreciate that moving forward as things are starting to escalate, as we saw the FBI Operation Blackout as well, which makes sense because my phone was blacking out the other day. Were they sending me a signal? Who knows, right? But anyway, let's go to a little bit of a section on the Bank of International Settlements. And as we saw this transformation of this new financial system, we saw many, many changes going on in the Bank of International Settlements. They, of course, are the overriding body, of course, of all central banks. So it's important to keep an eye on what they're doing. But they recently had, about a month ago, they did have some more meetings regarding the digital innovation is transforming finance. Whoop-dee. That's pretty important. But they did talk about a lot about stable coins, advanced future monitoring systems as well. So the Bank of International Settlements, although they are just a subsidiary, as I said, to overview the central banks across the world, it's still important to make sure that they are diligent in our new financial system. So let's go to Iraq, because there has been some incredible news, but I just wanted to reiterate some of that news. In the banking sector, of course, they're having major overhauls. We're seeing the new Prime Minister of Iraq coming out, and he's certainly making a huge impact and mark. They're talking about international compliance, and that is extremely, extremely important. In fact, the US Treasury is following a high-level diplomatic push in July with the Central Bank of Iraq, and the US Treasury has implemented a structural framework to stabilize the financial system with the Central Bank of Iraq. So if you miss that, that is massive. That is the framework or the fundamentals. What I'm actually hearing basically, though, out of Iraq is from the private banking sector in Iraq. Very important. The Iraqi private banks are formally stated now that they have secured the US Treasury deal. So this deal that was done, one of the many, I think it was one of 13 signatures that were done back in July with the new Prime Minister of Iraq. They have officially came out. The private banks are seeing that this was, the deal was done. So very, very excited. 7 Iraqi private banks were officially cleared for non-USD international correspondent banking channels for completing their phase 1 of the anti-money laundering re-licensing program. So they have implemented all of that. Phase 1 has been implemented. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Massive, massive, massive. It's interesting that it's in private banking, though. Anyway, this, of course, is the action plan for digital and virtual assets tracing and tracking. Why is that important? Of course, because we're all on digital asset blockchains. The Iraqi government workers will not get their salaries on time. That's what they're still pushing out there. This is a severe liquidity crisis. However, what they're doing is that this is working alongside of this new banking system that's just been emerged. Just hang on, because I think this emergence of these new phases into these private banking sectors is going to create a short delay in the salaries for that of the Kurdistan region. This, of course, is the intervention, you could say, of the global currency reset. So keep an eye on that. What was really, really interesting is I actually mentioned this one. I found this one a couple of days ago, and then it popped up in the news. But the new Prime Minister has a special team for Financial Oversight Bureau to undertake auditing contracts within 10 days. And we've already starting to see the impact of all of that, but I'll get to that one in a short minute because it ties up with something massive coming out of Indonesia as well. One of the other currencies, of course, that we follow is, of course, the Vietnamese dong. Vietnam, of course, is continuing to build strength and demonstrate strength and appealing to the international investors. The reason international investors are so important in all of this, and the international trades, the opening of all of their airports, is pivotal for the strength, as I said, of Vietnam. This tells you that investors are about to invest, and they are going to invest bigly into many areas of Vietnam. In Zimbabwe, there's been some notifications come in out of Zimbabwe, and they've informed me to focus on their gold deliveries in and around Zimbabwe. Apparently, there's a lot of movement of gold. The gold reserves, of course, their official parallel exchange rate. So I expect to see something coming out about that perhaps today or going into tomorrow. And of course, they have made massive progress in Zimbabwe regarding their debt in arrears as well. So keep an eye on that. Fantastic to see Kenya has also now been launched on the Avalanche blockchain. That's been one of those ones back in the early days that I used to watch quite a lot. So congratulations to Kenya. Mel's often talked about how the dinars can come together. And there was a fantastic article that came out about, none other than Iraq, Jordan, and Egypt. They are all dinars. Interesting. What would Mel know? But just putting it out there. We agreed to boost the trilateral operations, the three big guns, the three big dinars, the Jordanian dinar, Iraqi dinar, and the Egyptian dinar come together. Very interesting. They're talking about those three foreign ministers, though, highlighted the need to halt any military operations. This is part of their sovereignty. Reduce the tensions and adopt diplomatic means to resolve crises in the region. This has all got to do with the flow of money, ladies and gentlemen, just putting that out there. Iraqi lawmakers in their highest court. We're starting to see some very interesting movements in the high courts across the world, actually, but this one got my juices flowing. The Iraqi lawmakers have begun reviewing the government contracts suspected of containing inflated costs as their new prime minister intensifies the efforts just one day after he announced the audit to tighten oversight of public spending and prevent corruption before contracts are approved. This is massive. We saw the federal audits going in. We saw American audits of Fort Knox, so to speak. Like I said, follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. You follow the corruption. Federal audits are being done in Iraq. As I said, these next 10 days of these audits. Is this the 10 days of darkness, perhaps? We'll see. Of course, like I said a little bit earlier in the show, the FBI did announce Operation Blackout. As I said, is this the actual blackouts, like I said, of this corruption? Let's damn well hope so, yeah? Indonesian Navy. This article is the article of the day. It was sent to me by one of my admin, and boy, oh boy, was it fantastic. I've often talked across this whole thing regarding Indonesian rupiah. And during my time, I was staying, I think, in Gold Coast at the time, or the Sunshine Coast. And I was talking about how all of a sudden I saw Indonesian rupiah was above the USD on the TV screen. And I went, well, that's really interesting. And that was an indicator way back then. I spoke to my Malaysian contacts about a month or two ago, and we spoke about the chatter in amongst the economists within Malaysia. And they were actually purchasing Indonesian rupiah. Now, what do they know that we don't know is always the question I always often ask. Well, the Indonesian Navy, this article, and we also say watch the water, delivers rupiah to Papua New Guinea. The Sovereign Rupiah Expedition. They obviously have quite a lot in the reserves to be going out on a mission and expedition to release sovereign rupiah and giving rupiah to all of those in the many, many islands that make up Indonesia. So the Indonesian Navy go out and distribute billions and millions of rupiah to the citizens of their islands in Papua. So that's much bigger than what people realised. This is the last distribution or the redistribution before they actually revalue. Get excited about that. That is part of it. What else is going on in Indonesia? one of the strongest currencies, I think, is going to be, not to be understated, but the Bank of Indonesia also has a new governor, or an interim governor, which is quite interesting because she's a fantastic, tough lady. She's a tough cookie to crack. The Indonesian government have now come out and said they're now working together with their Bank of Indonesia. Working together, finally? I thought they already were, but this is important because the coordinated policy now comes as international markets continue to rise. Again, people are not only just looking at things such as Vietnam, Egypt, and other places, they are certainly starting to look in at Indonesia. This strengthens, of course, their supply chain and their trading shifts. They are shifting trades. They are going global. And for an underdeveloped country to start talking, there's a bit of a lag there, to start talking about the decisions that they have to make in regarding trades, this is very, very important. They also made a decision to keep their interest rates from their Bank of Indonesia stable. This recent Board of Governors meetings will support the rupiah exchange rate. Now, I've never seen so much talk out of Indonesia regarding their exchange rate. As I said, to release funds across the nation to many, many islands in Indonesia and giving the citizens of Papua a whole heap of currencies, you can expect a currency change is about to occur. Beyond that, they do see them too empowering the domestic market for inflation under this control. They're also talking about none other than we touched on some weeks ago regarding as I said, they're very focused in the States and many countries, including Canada and Australia. They're talking and focusing very much on small business or micro businesses, okay? And they are also doing that now in Indonesia. Beyond what they have just said about the inflation of their rupiah, they're focusing on micro, small and medium enterprises in Indonesia to access business finances. Now, if you are from an underdeveloped country or developing country, having the capabilities to have access to start with to banks in those countries is extremely difficult. So to see that they are giving access to business finances to organisations in Indonesia to accelerate their digital transformation through integrated payment systems and their long-term vision in Indonesia, get excited about this, is called Golden Indonesia 2045 goals. In 20, that's their vision, Golden Indonesia. Very, very, very excited about that. With all of that just being said, I'm keeping it reasonably brief today for all of you, of course, to be able to ask your questions because we seem to run out a bit of time. So, God's Alf, if you can unleash.
Thank you, Mel. Hi, everybody. Terry W. What is your question?
Hello. Hi, Mel. Thank you. Can you hear me?
I certainly can.
Oh, awesome. It's my first time coming live, but I do have a question, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I don't know if this was mentioned on your show by someone or a different show, but it was something that I kind of believed with and was thinking about. With the RV and 9/11 not too far off in the distant future, seeing how 9/11 was 25 years ago, and they were going to announce the new quantum financial system. We're in our 250th year, drop a zero, that's 25. Would it not kind of make sense, maybe you agree or disagree, that they may announce it on 9/11 and or this popped into my head today, possibly go into the 10 days of darkness on 9/11, seeing how we're on the wrong calendar. 10 days takes you to the 21st. They could announce on the 22nd, reset us 13 days. 2 days ahead, which would be what, September 9th. 2 days later is the 11th, and now they've put us on the right time frame and they make the announcement. And I believe, one last thing, years ago, I've heard that that's possibly Jesus's actual birthday. So do you have any thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, I do. It's an interesting that you've gone down that track. I've pondered over this many times. It is very, very interesting, and congratulations.
What do you guys think of that
RW
update? That was good.
For breaking all of that down. The Ethiopian calendar has always been one of those calendars that we have watched and followed. And yes, if you study and research what goes on behind the scenes, the Ethiopian calendar is very important, yes, and they celebrate Jesus' birthday on September 11th. They also actually have the oldest living Bible. Oldest living Bible. When you wrap your head around that, that's a whole new different aspect of where we are situated. The timelines, as I said, the timelines are completely crazy. Of course, they changed the calendar in October, so we have to keep that in mind as well. When do they flip? It's my understanding that they won't actually flip the calendar until 2029. That's what I'm sort of seeing in the research. That is also, of course, the new calendar is ISO compliant, which means that it will be on the actual ISO messaging system that we're running our blockchain financial system on as well. So we'll tie it all up together, but congratulations to Tari W for putting all of that together. Again, like I said, I had to stop doing those decodes because they were driving me nuts with dates and things like that as well. One to keep an eye on, of course, is the 14th of August. We're starting to see some very interesting movement in the background. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I always say this to people: don't pre-jump off the ship until we digest it and have a look at it. In a few days later, we tend to find out that something did happen, just like the old Clarity Act. It's more acting, but yeah, very good correlation there, and congratulations for putting that together. But yeah, which calendar, which day, which apps, there's a lot of aspects to it, so we'll wait and see. But congratulations. God's Alfie, what have we got next?
Corvette lady, what's your question?
Sweetheart, I didn't have my hand up, but I'll say hello.
You're welcome to say hello. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, God's elf, but I didn't have a question, sweetheart.
All right, thank you. Archer 1111, what is your question? And Geolite will follow Archer 1111.
Good day, Miss Mel. How are you?
I am superb, and all the better for hearing you. How's things in your part of the world, the dynamic lady of all things possible that can happen in Logstar? Sorry.
Very hot. Very
It
hot
is.
down here.
I believe it's hot right across the board. Everyone is complaining.
Exactly.
From Colorado all the way through. There's a lot of smoke in the air and that as well. So it is going to be an August hot month. So either the physical hot month.
Yes, it is.
So
I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on these currencies going all at once? Because we've always heard they're going all at once, 209, but I think we'll be waiting until, the cows come home. We have to wait that long. I just doubt all these countries are really ready. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, stay right with me on this one, and we'll go through it and we'll break it down.
Hey, we are 22 minutes in, and we still got about 35 minutes left.
I'm glad you bring that up, because the 209 countries, we believe, signed the gold treaty. Yes, they did. 107, I think it is, have to come online. A lot of countries will as I said, divert into other currencies until such time as they are ready. So it can still happen, and all currencies, as I said, can still go at the same time. They would just be pegged and pinned to other currencies. So I think the number is at 107. Fancy that. I think we're at 99 at the moment. So we're just waiting for a couple more people to come online. And I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. Yeah, it is. I see the dynamics of it. Yeah, we see the dynamics of it, sweetie, and I can understand the frustration that people are getting. But 209 signed the treaty, 107 are going to go, and they're just about there. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's all good. God's Elf, who's up next?
Geolite. Geolite next, followed by TBJ02.
Hi, Mel. It's Geolite. You look beautiful in red.
Thank you.
I have I learned about there's an executive order 14412 that was signed on June 22nd of this year, and it's securing the nation's adverse cryptotic attacks, and it's for large-scale quantum computers, particularly in the hands of adversaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll, so I also heard that there's some people that lost their Bitcoin because there was a back door, and if that's happening, Bitcoin might like slip down to almost nothing.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think it's going to be selectively targeted to certain nefarious Bitcoin users and abusers, so to speak. So we'll see what happens. It did do a dive yesterday, came back, I think, back up to 64, 65. So yeah, so they're still manipulating the markets, but it's going to be very, very interesting. And in a lot of the there's a lot of cyber attacks going on. I've heard of multiple just overnight. I'm still waking up, so to speak, but there has been multiple cyber attacks, and are these attacks that were planned to unleash or follow up? Like I said, this next 10 days, I think you're going to see very strange things happening across the world, whether it be in the banks, whether it be your emails. Please be very, very cautious of all of that. They are scamming so many people through emails at the moment. That's why I've always been skeptical about this safe website link via email. Still does my head in. But anyway, we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think the next 10 days is going to be extremely, extremely crazy. Oh, wait, that takes us up to the 14th of August or thereabouts. So we'll keep an eye on that. So TBJ02, you're next, apparently. How are you, champion?
I'm doing great. I'm guilty as charged. So I have two questions as a follow-up to the July 22nd Q&A that we had. You provided us with information. You provided some information regarding the timeline that from July 30th, 2026 to August 6th of this year, the old fiat money banking system would be taken down. My question is, has this happened or is it happening currently? And what evidence could we see to confirm this event is taking place?
Very good question. All right, how can we confirm it? We're about to confirm it. And I think with the audit that's going on over in Iraq as well, I think the timing of that is impeccable. And these audits that get done are going to show us that the banking system needs to be kept an eye on. So the banking system as it was, this is what this audit is for. It will expose it with the amount amount of cyber attacks that I'm seeing, I would hope and believe that these cyber attacks that we're seeing coming through in the next 24 hours, I think it's going to be pivotal. Then we'll actually see the remnants of that old banking system completely being collapsed. So I think by Friday, always give it the 72 hours. I think by Friday we'll have the evidence. We'll see the evidence of that old banking system completely collapsed. It just coordinates, like I said, with new governors coming into central banks. We're seeing right across from Indonesia to Iraq. So we've gone from the Asian markets to the Middle East. We've also had the audit done as well in Fort Knox. Fort Knox holds the gold. It's actually your US Treasury. So I think in the next 2 to 3 days, I think Finance Friday, we should reevaluate that, and I'll make a note, a duly noted that as I said, with the changes of the governors in central banks, we are starting to see it. And that's why I brought up Bank of International Settlements. If you were to go back into that site, it will actually indicate to you there is a lot of central banks that don't exist on that site any longer, which means that they are co-running independently. So that's very important as well. The boys from Canada, I must get them back as well. They were one of my most diligent students, I suppose you could say, when they discovered what I discovered as well. Bank of International Settlements doesn't have central banks such as Iraq and that in them. And yet I bring them up this morning to make sure that they are the umbrella, so to speak, of all central banks. But if you were to go in there and actually have a look at the number of central banks just recently, there's some evidence for you that a lot of the central banks, as I said, have been completely dismantled. And one of those, of course, is the Central Bank of Iraq. It holds its own sovereignty, therefore it's not part of the old system as well. So there's many, many layers to it when you ask that kind of question. The evidence is there for the eyes to see and the ears to hear. But to remind people that I did start the show at Bank of International Settlements. They are the umbrella at this point in time, making sure that I let people know, such as TVGIO2, that I am still looking and keeping an eye on those websites, including the IMF, World Bank, World Trade Organization, and of course, BRICS Pay. We're seeing X Money also as well. That is part of that new system breakdown. Just so happens that gets released as well. So from the 1st of August, we started to see so many implemented new platforms. That is a true indicator. That is your evidence that that whole old system is breaking down, and that the banks will just be a service provider, so to speak. So I hope that fulfills that answer for those tricky little questions. So.
And my last question is has to do with the Clarity Act.
Yes.
You had mentioned that we would have the actions and the actual vote for the Clarity Act would happen up to or before August 7th. Do you see the Clarity Act passing Congress by this date? And if not, will the failure of the Congress to act on this legislation result in military intervention, including the triggering of an EBS type event?
Oh, look, there is definitely a possibility of that. Wouldn't that be fantastic? That's a very good, I love it when he does this to me. Absolutely love it. It is. If it wasn't deemed to pass on before the closing of the Congress on the 8th of the 8th, Lions Gate, it could certainly push. I can't remember who was it that was pushing. It wasn't just the SEC. Can't remember who else was pushing for for it to be passed. There's a lot of theatre around the Clarity Act. As I said, this gives us the clarity moving forward that it is actually progressing. So keep a close eye on it. As I said, I do expect something big to happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. Is it going to be the Clarity Act? Does this bring Congress down? I think I did mention it before that if you were to take down Congress, and as I said, it's interesting how governments are restructuring themselves to complement the new financial system. So if the Clarity Act being as important as it is for the clarity of the legislation as well as the structure of our quantum system, if it was deemed that they didn't pass it, they could certainly come in and create an EBS whole swiping of arrests, 10 days of darkness, and does it wipe out the whole system for an EBS? Quite possibly. Who knows what's going to happen, but thank you very much for reminding me of my timelines, TBJ02. And as I said, we'll keep a close eye on that one in the next 24 hours. I think Finance Friday is going to be a boom shakalaka day. I really do. I think it's going to be much bigger than what people realise. As I said, by Friday, we should have the validation or verifications that we need right across the board in this chaotic situation. But yes, very interesting. The Clarity Act gives us clarity in this acting movie that we are in right now. God's out. Who else have we got?
Mountaintop, followed by Pisces Y. Mountaintop, what's your question?
Hey, Mel.
Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, a few times this week I've spoken to you. Ooh.
Yeah. Hope you've had some rest time.
Oh, yeah, I did get a little bit, just a little bit last night.
Good.
So it should be all good. So,
Okay.
how are you?
I'm good, but this has been kind of a long-going question. So I've been educating myself for 20 months. So when I first got, was more aware of who will, really be educated on the banking side, the exchange side, the history, seemed like there was this big divide between the banking side of educators, I won't say the names, who mocked or made fun of those who may have had certain bonds or certain Zim bonds, for instance, or agrochecks that were dead currencies. They only kind of almost were arrogant about no. Other side were saying, no, this is it for humanitarians. And there was almost this divide. And then when you were going to redeem, you had to make sure redemption versus exchange, redemption center versus bank exchange. It seems to me now sort of meeting in the middle, there's more of a cross-pollination between redemption centers in a bank and, the humanitarian funds are acknowledged maybe more than they were before, or even if they know you are already a humanitarian. So my question in all of that, expound on what you think needs to be, when we get the notifications, whether it be the website, the email, the 800 number, the app, notification on our phones, do you think there will still be a distinction where we need to really ask, okay, do you do exchange only of currency, or are you doing redemption of certain bonds and currency? Do you get where I'm going with that?
Yeah. And I want you to stay there.
Okay.
Because I actually did a great explanation of this just the other day, actually on Sunday with a Canadian group, and I was talking away, and I went, oh shoot, I should do this for my own group. So let's go through the process. We have people who already have contracted, or what we call SKR'd, and they got in on the act very early in the game, and they have what we call contract rates. So this is a combination of clarity for a few things. What from that particular group, or that section of people who created these groups to SKR their currencies, they also created what we call admiral groups or associations and organisations. They had their accounts verified, their currencies were verified, everything was validated. They went to and got all of their currencies checked, and they have what they call safekeeping receipt. And this is a receipt a bit like a silver certificate, where you actually have a receipt verifying what you have just given the treasury, so to speak, and that was placed into what they call a contract rate. It was a set rate created on many different algorithms. So when people talk about contract rates, they're actually talking about those organisations and groups that have already signed or have received this SKR. And what I think has happened, and it's kind of frustrating because I still heard this again the other day, ask the bank for another rate, higher rate, rah, rah, and that's bullshit. The contract rates were set for those who did their SKRs many, many years ago. They were well aware about what was going to happen, and they created organisations to support themselves, and then that grew, and then people were then invited into these groups and also now have their currencies or applied to those groups. But those groups are contracted rates, okay? For those of us like yourself, Mountaintop and that we hold our currencies, and we are waiting for this actual flip to happen. Again, there's many, many layers. From those organisations, though, what they did is that they created the theatre that everyone else was going to get a contract rate. So every time I hear contract rate, I go, it's a very dangerous game to play, because unless you are part of one of those organisations, you're not going to get the contract rate, even though they say you will and all the rest of it. I can't see how that was possible. The contract rate was for those who actually have already contracted, have an SKR, and a part of an organisation that has already got that implemented in place. For those of us like ours.
Okay, we are at 40 minutes. We got 22 minutes left.
What they classed as 4B, which was again created by these magnificent groups, and it's been lingered on for many, many years. And how are we going to get notified? You get notified just like everybody else does. It will be an announcement of some sort, whether it comes from the IMF or from the, I don't think it's going to be President Trump, but we're starting to see governments across the world doing similar activity. This is called a global currency reset. It's to get all of the currencies on a level playing field. So what my intuition is telling me is, based upon what I've researched, I believe that, like I said, there will be an announcement of some sort in each country that is going to reinstate their currencies. And what they are doing, we're seeing it even in Iraq, we're talking about private banks. Private banks hold the utilities and they bank above the banks, so to speak. All right, so we have this banking structure, and above the banks, we have intermediaries between the banking system that we know as normal everyday citizens, and then we have other levels or other layers of banks, which are called private banking, wealth management teams, and all of that. And they are privy to many, many things before that actually comes down to us at the bank level. So that's why I brought up today about Iraq private banks. They're talking to their governments on this auditing and how they're going to be using, they're the tools or the section of where we're going to be possibly redeeming and exchanging those currencies that we hold. I'm not talking about the contracted ones. I'm talking about those that we actually hold. Now, how do we get to know that? Well, once there is an announcement in the global sector or within your country that something has altered or changed, you're not going to miss out on it. It's going to be right there. You're already on the platforms to see it, so it's not going to disappear. It's not going to be some safe web link or anything like that. You can't rely on anything such as dinar recaps, although that was originally one of those. That platform's changed. All of these platforms have changed, altered, been taken over. Who do we trust? No, you have to trust yourself. You have to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. if there was an announcement made, like I said, we're seeing Indonesia, for instance, we focused on Indonesia today. Here they are giving away all of their Indonesian rupiah to all of their citizens. There are many remote islands. I think there's 400 islands in Indonesia. And they're going out to these islands and giving this money to currencies to the citizens because they're about to change their currency. Well, you think the citizens who don't even have a phone or anything like that, they're going to hear about it. They are going to hear about it. And then they're going to go, we've got this currency. What do we do with it? Well, I can assure you they'll go straight down to their local bank and get that exchanged and open themselves up a bank account. That is how simple and organic it is going to be. If you are relying on the internet or someone to invite you to the bank, then that's a bit of a concern. But you need to know the banking structure is that of, like I said, private bankers are the ones that are indicating to me that they are part of that redeeming and exchanging. So if it was deemed to be that you went up to your bank teller at your ordinary bank and she says to you that, I have no idea, then what do? Then that's when you start going, okay, well, let's ring now. It's time to ring now. A wealth manager or a financial advisor, get them to find out for you. But until such time as you are funded, there's not a lot you can actually do. So, as I said, as things progress, you're going to have what we call booths or booths that they call them, where you can go back and take some money and cash it in. And that gives you the money to go to your wealth manager. That's not double dipping, by the way. This whole double dipping thing is beyond my comprehension. But you could actually, you have to go through a process. If you're sitting there waiting for someone to tell you what to do, that's a very, very dangerous thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, a very dangerous thing to do. If you are not in control of where you think you're going to go, then that's a very, very sad situation that you're going to be in. But for those who are holding the currencies, understand it is an indicator that the private banks are going to be the places that you're going to be going that will be able to assist you in exchanging or redeeming your bonds and your currencies. The bonds do come out of a different pool. Bonds are different. They are processed differently. Just as if you were to purchase a treasury bond from your government, they are paid out with dividends, which is what they call trunching in some countries. So we've often heard about trunching, and we said, oh, it's all going to be trunched. Well, what's the platform that you use that? It's okay for the gurus and everything to say, oh, it's going to be trunched. Well, what does that mean, and how is that going to be implemented? Well, it's implemented through your trading, and most of the people who do the trading in the banks are that of private banks. So that's why when this announcement happens or something alters and changes around your currencies, then it's up to you to go and find out how you're going to be able to do this. And things change and alter every day, even for myself. I get given information all the time. I find information all the time. So it always alters and changes. But it certainly does appear that those who are holding their currencies and aren't a part of a contract or aren't a part of an organization or a group, you have to be diligent and make sure that you're not just receiving any email, even if it says it's from Dinar Recaps or Bruce the Big Call. You'd want to be very cautious about that, because they just released, FBI just released Operation Blackout, one of the biggest cyber attack blackouts that they have ever done. So please do not be reliant on some safe website link from Dinar Recaps or whoever. You want to be verifying that and validating. And this is why I love people like TBJ02 who come on here, push the button, pushing Mel to indicate and to show you that This is how this is validated. It's the same with the thing about the rates. The contract rates are contracted, they are signed, sealed, and delivered. There's no entering into that unless you enter into an organisation or another group sector and you had an SKR. As for the rest of us who hold the currencies, like I said, I don't believe there's any negotiation. There's many different layers to the rates. You have what we call the front screen. That's the one that you and I see all the time. When we go overseas, heaven forbid, hasn't happened for a while, but if you were to go overseas to Indonesia and it comes up on the screen, that's what we call a front screen rate. We have that of the back screen, which is that of the actual bank's rate, and that's their negotiated rate that they do with the currency exchanges, the Forex and that. They purchase X amount, they get a discounted rate. Then we have what we call preferential rates. This is the rate or the trading rates that we have between governments. And this is my understanding. So when I spoke to a private wealth manager, two in Australia, both of them explained to me that what we talk about when we're talking about contracting in a sense, but if you haven't got a contract, the only rate that they can possibly give you is this preferential rate. And this is the rate that the governments arrange with each country. So if it was deemed to be, in this case, Indonesian rupiah, for this example, it would be whatever the preferential rate between the Indonesian government and the Australian government have come together for a preferential rate. It's going to be a little bit better than that on the front screen and probably a little bit better or very close to that back screen rate that the banks have this facilitated for, okay? It is kind of a contract rate, but there's not a lot of room for negotiations. It's a preferential rate or a set rate between the two governments when they're trading platforms. And this trading platform is where it allows them, that's their trade. That's what they are trading at. And it's negotiated for a long period of time so as that both parties have a win-win situation. That to me is my understanding is that you will get what they call, or you can ask for a preferential rate. But you do not go into these private bankers asking for a contract rate, although, like I said, it is similar to that of a preferential rate. There is a little bit of room to move, but not.
Okay, we are about 10, 15, under 15 minutes.
A lot. So hopefully, as I said, as this unfolds, we're starting to see it. You won't miss out on it. It will be clear, concise, and everything else. And as I said, we will all go through the process together where we will identify where we need to go, what needs to be the process. We've got enough guidelines from those associations and groups to say that, you know, put everything into order, have your tally sheets and this, that, and all the rest of it. And they have been absolutely perfect and good, great ideas. But the idea of actually having them waiting for a specific email and things like that as well is actually very concerning, because that's how they're hacking right now at this present moment. They are hacking people's emails and things like that as well. So like I said, hopefully that helps, hun. Hopefully that helps you.
It does. The second part of this, so do you think now is the time? Because previously you thought maybe it was a little early when we talked way back. Now is the time to perhaps contact these wealth managers. There's not many in my state as far as Wells Fargo, but to start initiating a relationship with some of the wealth managers prior to, or wait?
Prior to, you can, absolutely, and sort of start sussing it out and forming relationships, definitely. And I think because the other reason I didn't do it previously is because we weren't actually really emotionally strong enough, I think, as well. And I think now, it's time to step up or level up, so to speak, and we should be able to find this inner strength to be able to progress to that next level. So, yeah, so I just wanted to verify that. So sorry about the long-winded conversation there, ladies and gentlemen, but I think it was important, as I said, to make sure where my brain goes to is a little bit different. So Pisces, why? I think you're up next.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Good, thanks. I have a question, Mel. Whenever we were talking about the currency exchange, we were talking about HSBC Bank.
Yes.
I just saw an article a couple of days ago that HSBC Bank is exiting Australia in the next 18 months. So what will be happening then?
It's a little bit of a fear factor for you, isn't it, darling? But anyway,
yes.
As it does, because people ask the question, HSBC, of course, is part of the training or the implementation of the actual process for that of us in this global currency reset, and they're disappearing in 18 months. Oh my gosh. But on the other side of this, we have this flip side where we kind of like, banks are finally disappearing. A lot of it will be, in retrospect, 18 months. So here's an indicator. It has to happen in 18 months, doesn't it? Because if HSBC was part of that journey where they were educating everything else in the part of the redemption and exchanging process, how they actually set up. It's a true indicator, though, as I said, that the journey is about to begin. The journey is about to change. It's a little bit of not a gut punch, but we kind of take that nervousness. Oh, crap, what does happen when they leave? Well, basically, as I said, everything goes quantum. It goes online. They're not required physically to be here. And the reality is that that's now become a reality, that the actual bank, HSBC, is not.
Darn it. Oh, missed the wrong button. I thought I had everything. We are almost done. Hang on a second. We were about under 15.
Tuition is telling me it's based
about 8 minutes, I think.
Booze or they are hacking people's emails and things like that as well. So, like I said, hopefully that helps.
51 minutes we were
hopefully
at, so
that helps.
we're right about here.
It does. The second part of this, so do you think now is the time? Because previously we thought maybe it was a little early when we talked way back. Now is the time to perhaps contact these wealth managers. There's not many in my state as far as Wells Fargo, but to start initiating a relationship with some of the wealth managers prior to, or wait?
Prior to, you can absolutely, and sort of start sussing it out and forming relationships, definitely. And I think because the other reason I didn't do it previously is because we weren't actually really emotionally strong enough, I think, as well. And I think now, it's time to step up or level up, so to speak, and we should be able to find this inner strength to be able to progress to that next level. So, so I just wanted to verify that. So sorry about the long-winded conversation there, ladies and gentlemen, but I think it was important, as I said, to make sure where my brain goes to is a little bit different. So Pisces, why? I think you're up next.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
Good, thanks. I have a question, Mel. Whenever we were talking about the currency exchange, we were talking about HSBC Bank.
Yes.
I just saw an article a couple of days ago that HSBC Bank is exiting Australia in the next 18 months. So what will be happening then?
it's a little bit of a fear factor for you, isn't it, darling? But anyway,
Yes.
As it does, you know, because people ask the question, you know, HSBC, of course, is part of the training or the implementation of the actual process for that of us in this global currency reset, and they're disappearing in 18 months. Oh my gosh. But on the other side of this, we have this flip side where we kind of like, oh, banks are finally disappearing. A lot of it will be, in retrospect, 18 months. So here's an indicator. It has to happen in 18 months, doesn't it? Because if HSBC was part of that journey where they were educating everything else in the part of the redemption and exchanging process, how they actually set up. It's a true indicator, though, as I said, that the journey is about to begin. The journey is about to change. It's a little bit of a, not a gut punch, but we kind of take that nervousness, oh crap, what does happen when they leave? Well, basically, as I said, everything goes quantum, it goes online. They're not required physically to be here. And the reality is that that's now become a reality. That the actual bank, HSBC, is not going to be physically present in Australia. I know that they actually left, I think there is only one branch left in New Zealand. That's part of that functionality side of things as well. As I said, they have played their part. Their role is now done. It's like I said to everyone about 2 weeks ago, I said to you, my redeeming banks, so to speak, indicated to me that everything was set, done, ready to go with everything to do with exchanging and redeeming. Their focus now was, of course, on the education system. We're starting to see that come out and play. So don't be panicking when you see this. It is what we actually wanted. We don't want the banks in our system or in our lives. Everything goes outside of the system. Your quantum energy, you become your own bank. It is a true indicator that the world is changing. Get excited. Is it nerve-wracking? Yes, because then it becomes a reality that it's actually changing, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. So HSBC leaving Australia in 18 months, oof, I'm pretty darn excited about that. God's help, who we got next?
Okay, everybody, I apologize. I stopped taking raised hands about 10 minutes ago because we are limited on time. Mel, you've got 6 people here for 2 minutes.
All right.
So
let's go through.
I just want to let people know that, you know, when I see I've still got several in the queue, I stopped taking raised hands. So to try to keep this limited to 1 hour. So Bubbles is next, followed by Clayton. Bubbles?
Yeah, hi, Mel.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent.
So yesterday I did go to a bank.
KJ, we're almost done with Mel.
The information I got was
Kay
that
has
they
a
were
dentist
do relation
appointment today.
banking, but the wealth manager will be holding some PowerPoint charts. But anyway, that's my question. So mine is that some time ago I had gotten into a bank trade program, never paid out, and there were delays due to the shutdown. They cited that it was 2020 shutdown, but in 2024. They had someone reached out. It was through the intermediary, and they got our KYC done. Then in 2025, we were being told we'll have to travel, and everything came to an abrupt stop. And I don't have any contact information on this. So, do you think it was done by the right people that caught these, and they're trying to pay out, or do you think I should? Legal action. The reason I'm not doing legal action is because they're not aware of this, all this RV. The lawyers will just tell me, well, you need to file SEC. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I said, some interesting developments have happened in the last 24 hours. And I think it's best that we just sit back and wait. I think that we're seeing a lot of things happening in the Supreme Courts. So sit back, Bubbles, and yeah, just hold off for a little bit longer. It's a very personal situation, so maybe we might have to contact each other personally, but sit back and see what happens. Wayno's.
Buenos, did you have a question? Followed by Mrs. C. Buenos, did you have a question? All right, let's move on to Mrs. C. Mrs. C.
Hi, Mel. Hello, sweet. How are you? South Africa is on the board. How are you?
Can you hear me properly?
Yes, I can.
That's good. I just wanted when TV what's happening?
Okay, we're about
That's okay. Keep going, Mrs. C.
a few more minutes, you guys.
When the TBJ02 was talking,
Yes.
there was something that I had read earlier, and it was about Putin and BRICS. Putin is fed up now with the dollar, and him and BRICS are going forward to kill the dollar. I saw one of the articles on that, it was so exciting to see after all these years with the story with the BRICS, and this being run on the BRICS system originally. To see that was exciting.
Yep.
Really exciting.
Excellent. Can you send that article to me, darling? That'd be great. If you
Okay,
can find it.
I will. And can you contact me sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. I will do that.
Please. I really do need to speak to you.
That's okay, darling.
Okay.
Yes, we will do that.
All right. Okay,
All right, love.
I'll
Thank
send
you.
it to you. Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Sweetie. Thank you. Bye. Who's up next, Gonzalo?
Vicky Victorious, followed by Pab 65. Vicky Victorious.
There you are. Okay. Sorry about. Oh, can you see me? What did I do?
You're up on the screen with me.
I had a thick thumb, I guess. Thanks, Godzilla. Hi, Mel.
Okay. How are you?
Good. That was really interesting on your take on all the stuff that's going to happen with the RV, but I don't want to get sidetracked. I'm interested. I know maybe a year ago that Japan with banks were going to be using XRP, and that was announced. And so now with Japan and their country and their economy going down the tubes, and we're supposed to be, I guess we sold euros so that we could help bail them out. And I think that was last week. And I think this week, maybe Monday, they were still in default, that their economy was still kind of tanking. Do you know, or can you explain? I mean, not just them. I've seen other things like on Market Guru of other countries, in the tank too. I mean, I don't think we can afford that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I just was wondering if you have a take on any of that, what really may be going on. Thank you.
Like I said, yeah, I think they're just doing adjustments in the background. As I said, I think by this Friday, by the end of Friday, you're going to start seeing it. That's what they're saying, but I think it's already, as I said to TBJ02, I think it is basically already happened, and they're just making adjustments and accumulating the theatre behind it all. There could be a big boom on Friday, I think, a big Moab, I think, coming on Friday. That'll be the tsunami that sets the precedence. Is it going to be Japan? No one's got the money, technically, the printable money to be able to bail them. And then, yeah, like I said, I think it's just a matter of sitting back and watching the all unfold. But anyway, who else is next, Godzell?
Tab 65 was next. I don't see them anymore, but that kind of happens to me every now and then. Tab 65, are you still in the audience? PAB 65. Counting down. PAB 65. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last person, Zydandy. Zydandy?
Zydandy. Yes, no.
Zydandy, did you have a question? Hit your big blue button. Okay, I guess not. No, we are only 5 minutes past the hour. Good.
We're getting better at this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, always an absolute pleasure and honor.
Okay, guys. I'm glad it's only an hour. I don't like the 2 hours. So that was her Wacky Wednesday. So we'll probably have one Saturday. Okay, we're going to move on. Maria, yep, we got still plenty more time still. I'm going to do a couple of bennies. I got a lot of shorts to get.
Police vehicle, I'm not going back to Haiti.
I'm not going back to Haiti. One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member.
Okay, so, well, wait a second. Why would he be frustrated about going back to Haiti? Haiti is amazing for Haitians. We've been told this time and time again by celebrities, by media personalities.
Make America great again that Trump wears? Yeah, okay. You don't seem thrilled by this hat, no? We made this hat for you.
Yeah.
Haiti is great already. You like that?
Yes.
Did you wear that? Yes, very nice.
Why would you have a problem going back here? Haiti is great already. In fact, why doesn't Conan O'Brien move to Haiti? Why doesn't any of these, look at Bill Maher, Susan Sarandon, every libtard in the world said that Haiti was like the greatest country on earth. So like, what is the problem with deporting people back to paradise? Again, Stephen Miller made this point, like, well, everyone was freaking out because temporary protected status has been removed from, there's like 20% of Haiti lives in America right now. How that's possible? Why we're so suicidal? I don't understand. But he was asked, like, why would you send Haitians back to Haiti? And his response was perfect.
Haiti, to their homeland. The fact that there might be pockets of Haiti, country, of course Haitians should live in Haiti. There's no viable asylum, or use a technical term here, CAT claim, or withholding claim, for any Haitian seeking relief from going back to Haiti, to their homeland. The fact that there might be pockets of Haiti where there's higher crime rates, guess what? There's pockets of Chicago with crime rates just as high, right? There's pockets of cities like St. Louis with crime just as high. Pockets of Los Angeles with crime just as high. It has never been the case that having communities that have high crime rates is a basis for asylum. Never has been.
Amazing. And now President Trump, Stephen Miller, we're just granted a massive victory on this front. Trump gets immigration victory. Federal judge has cleared the path for ending all Haitian TPS following the Supreme Court ruling. President Donald Trump Wednesday notched another major immigration victory. Temporary protected status, temporary. Has temporary ever meant temporary for the federal government? Remember, it's like the income tax was supposed to be temporary, right? How's that worked out for us? These wars, forever wars, are supposed to be, they're temporary, right? Supreme Court's ruling. The ruling marks a culmination of a years-long battle over the Biden administration's expansion of Haiti's temporary protected status designation to deliver significant migration victory for Trump, who repeatedly campaigned to end Biden's immigration policies and send Haitians back. And we're going to talk about exactly why that's critical for Western civilization, and more than anything, why Haitians should not want to be in Western civilization. Obviously, they've mass slaughtered every white they could get their hands on in order for their independence. They should have to live in that independence that they created. The issue became the centerpiece of the 2024 election when Donald Trump said Haitians were eating the dogs and cats. And of course, this is a,
how did
critical moment
YouTube
in
get
American
Lori?
history.
that
led to one of the greatest.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening.
And they were eating the dogs and cats. And Donald Trump won that election. And now he's winning. Federal judge says that the court order blocking Trump administration from sending Haiti's temporary protected status is no longer in effect. Supreme Court ruling. The lawsuit will continue, but the administration can now move forward with ending temporary protected status, putting ankle bracelets on all Haitians, which they're doing right now, and mass deportation.
What did she say?
Haitian temporary protected status ended with the Supreme Court mandate on July 27th. I will give Judge Rage kudos, though, for trying to take the L with grace and not doing something bonkers like many of his colleagues. Okay. Secretary Mullen on Haitians terminated TPS. We're going after them right now. The individuals can either self-deport, we'll arrest you, and we'll send you back. That
has been litigated. The courts spoke very clearly. We knew that we were going to win this because in its name itself, it says temporary protective status. The president has the right to start it. He also has a right to end it. The president ended it, which was the right call. So these individuals can either self-deport or we will arrest you and send you back.
Are they going to do that? Haitians fitted with GPS ankle monitors as ICE begins crackdown. Oh, no. Oh, my. Hundreds of Haitian immigrants, they're not immigrants, they're invaders, who recently lost temporary protected status have been ordered to report to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement offices in Springfield, Ohio. Many of them have left wearing ankle monitors, signaling the beginning of deportation crackdown of the 350,000 Haitians who are no longer authorized to be in the United States. Whew. This would be a huge victory. Do this right before the midterms, please. Haiti is an S-hole country, evil, racist, offensive. Haiti is hell, compassionate, and true. Ohio GOP governor calls Trump's plan to deport Haitians a mistake. You're sending people back to hell. Well, okay, cucktard, cuckcon. What makes Haitians hell? What makes Haiti hell? Is it the Haitians? Inquiring minds are asking. Haiti's hell because Haitians live there. If you move them to the U.S., you don't make Haitians more like Americans. You make America more like hell.
Okay, we got about 4 minutes.
Yeah, none of these people, none of them have moved to Haiti. None. Remarkable. Why is that? Well, because Haiti is the worst place to live. One of the worst places to live on Earth. Certainly the worst place to live in the Western Hemisphere. It has the highest gang control per capita of any place. It is centered on gang violence, political collapse, economic freefall, massive humanitarian emergency. These issues reinforce each other and have worsened. They assassinate their presidents all the time. It almost happens here. Whatever. It does happen here every once in a while. Ugh. Thousands of killings occur yearly. Wow. Political instability, economic collapse, humanitarian and social crisis. Oh, boy. Very bad. Why is that, though? Has anybody ever looked it up? Haiti used to be France's richest colony in the late 18th century. It used to be one of the best places to live on Earth, I guess, producing a large share of the world's sugar and coffee. But it had a plantation system, and that was really naughty. And I'm not here to argue for enslavement, but slavery has existed since the dawn of man, and every single nation and every single people have practiced slavery. Muslims still practice slavery to this very day. Okay. So this is some type of unique sin to Europe or to Napoleon or the French who were running Haiti or to the West. Anyway, the point is there was a slave revolt, and the blacks went and slaughtered all of the whites. They just took women and children, they skinned them alive, they strung them up, they slaughtered every white they could get their hands on. And it was extremely destructive and the worst genocide in the West that has ever happened. The worst racial genocide in the West that has ever happened. Black people did it to white people. And it actually led to Napoleon selling Louisiana, the Louisiana Purchase, selling like this huge, in some sense, we could maybe thank the Haitians in some weird, crooked, gallows humor way, because Napoleon was like, to hell with this hemisphere. I'm going to do the Louisiana Purchase and get money for all these French claims in the Americas. And that's how we got the Louisiana Purchase, actually, because of the Haitian slave revolt. But anyway, of course, they didn't know how to run a society or an economy or a country or anything. And it's just been descended into madness ever since. It's literally just existed in squalor. Nothing has been built. Nothing's been created. Nothing is done. It exists as a failed state the exact same way it was since the slave revolt of the 1800s. They declared independence in 1804. And no looking back, no takesies backsies. And then it's just been a collapsed state. And no, it's not because of their island or anything like that. Like, you have the Dominican Republic sharing the same island. And that's like a first world stratospheric economy and like very functional place, and it's beautiful, and everybody, you can go visit there and vacation there. No, this is like hell on earth. It is hell on earth. And it was made hell on earth because the slaves there rejected Western civilization, slaughtered all the whites, and then couldn't build their own society. And so why would we ever allow their descendants to come to Western civilization? Like, they are the descendants of the people who killed all the whites to collapse their society and then built absolutely nothing and live in huts now to this very day. I know it because I've been to Haiti and I've seen it. So yeah, again, like nobody's ever made the argument that like Haitians are making America better, and their ancestors have clearly proven, again, incompatibility with Western civilization. So not great. Not great. Send them home. Remember, Haiti is great already. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you think.
Okay, that was one mini video. I'm going to do quite a few short ones again. I got two more big ones I want to play. A Call Me thing from Trisha's video, and maybe one other one after we get some shorts in. So we got an update. Somebody's out of jail or hospital. Anybody know who that could be?
I'm Del Walton in Washington, D.C. You're watching Scripps News on the Scene. Senator Mitch McConnell out of rehab. He's been recovering there from that fall in mid-June. McConnell out with a statement saying he was discharged earlier today to continue his recovery at home. That's also where he will continue his physical therapy. McConnell says he'll work with staff and colleagues on Senate business from home. Keep in mind, Senate goes on its month-long recess tomorrow, and likely we'll see him cast a vote between now and then. Their loved ones took an oath to serve and protect, apparently for 50 parents and spouses of active duty U.S. troops. That didn't apply to ICE. All 50 have been detained by ICE since President Trump's second term began. An Associated Press investigation finding that 6 were deported, 1 self-deporting. At least 8 are still being held. Advocates warn that detentions cause service members to lose their safety nets, their support systems, and in some cases, the caretakers of their children. The detentions to force Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen to intervene in some of the cases. Avocados and cartels, not exactly the mix you would expect.
So that was the short clip there on Mitch out of the hospital. Yep, Maria. Okay, the next one. I think it's a few minutes. Oh, 4 minutes.
Trump. Keith Olbermann was patient zero for Trump derangement syndrome in the media. He went from respected MSDNC host to screaming into his webcam about Russian conspiracies and military coups. He made over 100 deranged videos calling Trump a traitor. He was so unhinged, even MSDNC cut him loose. He now spends his days ranting on YouTube, getting a fraction of the attention he used to have, completely forgotten by the real world. At the peak of Trump derangement syndrome, Kathy Griffin thought it would be hilarious to pose with a fake severed head of President Trump. Instead, she nuked her own career overnight. CNN fired her from their New Year's Eve show. Venues canceled her tours, and Hollywood blacklisted her. She went from A-list to nobody faster than anyone in the Trump era. Now she's begging for attention on social media, completely forgotten by the industry that once cheered her on.
I don't think I will have a career after this. I'm going to be honest. He broke me. He broke me. And then I was like, no, this isn't right. It's just not right.
After Trump won in 2016, CNN gave Reza Aslan a show. He called Trump a piece of shit on Twitter and then doubled down. CNN canceled his show immediately, and he hasn't had a major platform ever since. Don Lemon was CNN's loudest anti-Trump voice. He called Trump supporters racist more times than anyone can count. He got demoted in 2022 and then fired in 2023 after a series of scandals, on-air blow-ups, and cringy moments. After CNN, he tried to reinvent himself as a star on X, but Elon Musk personally fired him after a disastrous interview. Now he's unemployed, posting thirst traps on Instagram, and completely irrelevant. Chris Cuomo was supposed to be CNN's future, but it all came crashing down when it was revealed he was secretly helping his brother cover up a sex scandal while attacking Trump every night. As a side note, I do like his new show on News Nation. He has on interesting guests and sort of seems like he's coming around and changing some of his positions. Bill Kristol was once a kingmaker in Republican politics. Then Trump showed up and Kristol lost his mind. He spent years attacking Trump, begging for anyone to challenge him, and trashing the voters who didn't listen. His magazine, The Weekly Standard, went bankrupt and shut down in 2018. Kristol is now just another angry never-Trumper ranting on the Bulwark's YouTube channel while the party moves on without him. Bob Woodward was once a respected journalist who took down Nixon, but Trump broke him. Woodward spent the last 9 years writing anti-Trump books and leaking tapes trying to take him down. Instead, he destroyed his own credibility. Now he's just another bitter liberal hack begging for interviews and pretending he's still important. Jim Acosta became famous for yelling at Trump in the White House press room. He tried to play the victim when Trump called him fake news. But once Trump left office, Acosta had nothing left to scream about. CNN shoved him onto weekend duty where no one watches. He's a living reminder that shouting doesn't make you important when the cameras stop caring. Jemele Hill had it all, a primetime spot on ESPN SportsCenter and a big future in sports media. But she couldn't keep her politics off Twitter. She called Trump a white supremacist, dragged ESPN into a firestorm, and got suspended. Not long after, she left the network in disgrace. Chris Wallace built a career pretending to be the serious journalist at Fox News. After clashing with Trump during the 2020 debates, Wallace left Fox and jumped to CNN+. CNN+ then collapsed in less than a month, and Wallace's big move turned into a total embarrassment. Today, he's stuck hosting a low-rated interview show on Max and CNN that no one talks about. Unlike his father, Mike Wallace, who was respected across the country, Chris Wallace is now just another forgotten name.
That was pretty good, huh? Okay, before I go back to the short ones, I just found a update on the moon situation. I'm going to play that one. Let me know if you guys want me to play the whole 14 minutes there. Just came out a few hours ago. Oh, wait. Here's the update with the cats. She got some cat food. Yeah, I just came across that one earlier. Yeah, there's really good videos today. One, I gotta find it. Never thought, baby, when you see you will say, but I love you still. I need you. More than anyone, darling. You know that I am from the start. So build me up, buttercup. Don't break my heart. I'll be over at 10. You told time and again, but you're late. I wait around and then I run to the door. I can't think anymore. It's not you. You let me down again. Okay, that just came out. Where do I have that one at? What's this one? They won't let me play it. Oh well. I'll get to the next one. Jeez. Here's one here, short one.
Stealing nearly $1 million in cryptocurrency made his second appearance in federal court today. According to a federal complaint, Patrick Yarrow told investigators he became frustrated with the FBI and had been in possession of the cryptocurrency since last year. Today, a magistrate judge found probable cause to move the case forward. News 4's Paul Wagner was in the courtroom and joins us live with the latest. Paul?
Hi there, Ron. So quite a bit happened today in court, a hearing that lasted just about an hour or so. Patrick Yarrow appeared in an Alexandria jail jumpsuit and sat at the defense table as an FBI agent testified about the details in this case. And that was the part of the probable cause hearing. The judge, after hearing all of that testimony, did find probable cause. The question now is detention. We've learned that Patrick Yarrow will be held again overnight, but the judge has indicated that she's willing to release him, but does not want to release him to his wife. And so she's looking for a third party. So at this point, he's going to be held one more night. But here's some of the details that we've learned about this case. Last Tuesday afternoon, FBI counterintelligence agent Patrick Yarrow contacted an employee with the Department of Justice via the Signal app and asked to meet to discuss a personal matter. According to a complaint filed in federal court, the two met at FBI headquarters before moving the meeting across the street to the Department of Justice. According to the complaint, Yarrow decided to tell DOJ employee 1 about his actions because of the shame, and he knew what he did was wrong. Yarrow said it was eating him up inside, and he wanted to get it off his chest. Yarrow inquired about criminal exposure. DOJ employee 1 instructed Yarrow that it was very serious. He should get a lawyer. The complaint goes on to say, in approximately November 2024, during his investigation.
Enough of that. Try to save some time. Okay, I got 2 15 ones from our older ladies, but I'm going to save those two to the end. So we are going to, I found that one with the second one of, this was last night. I haven't seen none today yet.
That I made because they're about to ban my other account. I literally just told you that breaking news that someone was arrested outside of Trump's golf course this past weekend. And because I said that their pronouns are they, I just got a community violation for literally telling y'all that somebody was arrested outside Trump's golf course with that, and that his name is Janine, and they just took my video down 5 seconds after I put it up and said, I have violated their motherfucking standards by telling y'all that. And I also said that Michigan is lost and that Newsmax is sounding the alarm on what is happening. And I said to please vote November. Bet you this one gets taken down too, guys. I'm going to tell you what. We have got to leave this fucking app. We need to get off this app, guys. Hey, everybody. So on this account, the one that
our mask guy.
Well, you know, what's interesting about that statement is long before there was any notion of policing, we had founders that did not even understand that term. Policing is something that's evolved over time.
Did policing exist when America was founded? The Democratic Socialists of America platform calls for abolishing the police. Its co-chair has argued for that position. And now we've heard the claim that policing didn't exist when the United States was founded, that it's a modern invention. So, is that true? If they're claiming there was no law enforcement, that's false. At the founding of the United States, there were sheriffs, constables, night watchmen, town marshals. They kept the peace, made arrests, served warrants. Those offices didn't begin in America. They came from England. In fact, the office of sheriff dates back more than 1,000 years to Anglo-Saxon England. Constables and watchmen were enforcing the law centuries before the American Revolution. Then in 1829, Britain established the London Metropolitan Police under Sir Robert Peel. That became the model for the modern professional police department. It's also why British police officers are still nicknamed bobbies or peelers, named after Robert Peel. First modern municipal police department in the United States is generally considered the Boston Police Department, established in 1838. So here's the distinction. Modern police departments came later. Law enforcement and policing, in the broader sense of organized public officials keeping the peace and enforcing the law, had already existed for centuries. History matters. My friends, we are all anonymous.
Okay, one more of him. Can't remember if we played this one or not.
Okay, replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them. Yep. Abolish ICE. Absolutely. Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally. As a long-term plan, yep. Defund the Pentagon. Absolutely. Abolish prisons, at least in large part. Yeah, again, that as part of a long-term program, yeah. Okay, so no
20 hours
or
ago.
public ownership of most large corporations. Yeah, absolutely.
Every elected official, before they can exercise the powers of their office, must first take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. That oath is not optional. It isn't ceremonial. It's required. Without taking that oath, they cannot assume the office. That's how seriously our constitutional republic takes that promise. Every president, senator, representative, federal judge, the oath comes first. Power comes second. Now, listen again. Not to the label. I don't care what they call it. Communism, democratic socialism, or anything else. Labels can change. Listen. Listen to what they actually say. Are they proposing to improve our constitutional republic or replace it? Because those are two very different conversations. Words matter, platforms matter, but an oath should matter too. Because if an oath means anything, it means something before you take office and something after. Otherwise, why require it at all? Maybe it's time we ask one more question, a question every voter and every journalist should ask. Before we entrust you with the power of this office, are you prepared to take the required oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States? If so, how do you reconcile that oath with your stated platform? Because if a candidate can't answer that question, perhaps they shouldn't be asking for the office. My friends, we are all anonymous.
Okay, got two of him out.
The allegations themselves. And that is the way that the Republican caucus talks about domestic violence. Something we seem to hear over and over again when Republicans are asked questions or confronted about Max Miller and whether or not he should seek re-election is that they shouldn't have an opinion and we shouldn't be talking about it because it's, quote, a family matter. This is not a new talking point. It has deep roots in misogynistic history. It was used as a way of keeping domestic violence legal for quite a long time because what happened in the home was none of the public's concern. So let's debunk it. The truth is, getting a divorce, yeah, that's a family matter. Figuring out child custody, that's a family matter. But when you cross the line into breaking your child's collarbone, when you cross the line into scalding your ex-wife with boiling water or holding a gun to her head, that's not a family matter, that's a crime. And the question in front of these Republican leaders is not whether he should be convicted in a court of law. That has an entirely different process with a different standard of proof. The question is whether he is qualified to hold office in one of the most powerful bodies in the world. By saying it's a family matter, they're suggesting that women are property, that when women are in your family and you abuse them, that's something to be dealt with in the family, that it's not a crime, that it doesn't reflect on the standard of someone's ability to lead. As 3 women have accused him credibly of abuse, it is a no-brainer to ask him to step down, and refusal to do so is very telling. Let's talk about...
Okay, a regular one that we listen to.
happened. I'm not a mental health professional. I want to talk about law enforcement. So I'm seeing some misinformation out there about law enforcement and their response. What Miami-Dade police did was they showed up to the scene, and then eventually, once they found out that it was just him in the home, they did what's called tactically disengaging. What I'm hearing people say is they just up and left, or they tactfully disengaged. It's tactically disengaging. So what they did initially was they showed up with their tactical team. So think SWAT. That's very normal until you can make sure that there's no one else that's in imminent danger. That's how you respond, and you prepare to make a dynamic entry. Once they probably talked to the family and realized that he was the only one there, they tactically disengaged from the scene. And so there's a couple reasons why they do that. It's a de-escalation technique. You want to put space in between yourself and the person to hopefully avoid a situation of unaliving, by cop, and also for resolution to it. What they do is they'll replace those tactical teams with crisis managers and crisis negotiators to try to get the person out and avoid any further harm to them. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And I just sort of wanted to clear that up if I could. The next piece I want to talk about is the fact that this went on for 30 plus minutes on TikTok. TikTok has removed videos for far less than that in a far shorter period of time. And I do believe that they share some of this responsibility for this. We are not conditioned to, see things like this. Yes, I've seen things in Afghanistan, but I think we are not conditioned to be seeing that on a regular basis. And I think it's very shameful what happened and what they did. And they do need to be taken to task for that. But that brings me to my next thing. Y'all know I don't think kids should have access to social media. My daughter doesn't have a phone. She doesn't have social media. But there's something important thing I wanted to talk about on here because it happened in my family. So my daughter, when she was 10, she doesn't have a phone, but the school where she's at it's grades 5 through 8. And so there were kids on the day that Charlie Kirk was killed. They turned their phones back on. They can't have them in school. And they were walking out, watching the videos and discussing it. I didn't think that I had to talk to her about what happened because she doesn't have a phone. I wouldn't have discussed that with her. But she did come in the car and later asked me, Mommy, what happened to somebody named Charlie? I heard something really bad happen. And she said, what she had heard happen. I was like, where did you hear that? Well, people had turned on their phones and were talking about it and showing the videos. That caught me off guard. And so now I'm realizing I might have to open dialogues with her about some of these things because I don't know what other children are seeing. And obviously I can't control that. So it might be a good idea to just have that discussion with your kids.
Okay, another second one that we play. 2 more 15 ones we got still. Trying to get some short ones in. I think we better play Call Me one though. 20-minute one.
Orange, New Jersey, at a YMCA day camp. 13 children ages 10 to 13 ingested candy that was believed to have been laced with mushrooms. Emergency responders were called right away. 12 of the 13 children were treated on scene and were actually released. One, because of an underlying medical condition, was sent to a hospital for kind of secondary screening there. But it looks like, thank goodness, all of the children are going to be okay. A counselor observed this child, I think, handing out candy and said that it was a prohibited item. I don't know what transpired in there. I don't know if they just allowed the kids to keep eating the candy or if the counselor took it, but 13 had already eaten it. That part I don't know. But it does sound like camp policy is you are not allowed to be bringing really anything from home that is edible and giving it to other children. That's what the camp has said. So that is against their policy. And it sort of got me thinking, to be honest with you. And again, we can't think of every little thing, but I think we can change how we have procedures in place because of things that happen. So my daughter's own camp, their medication, they're not allowed to bring it. It has to be sent from a completely secondary service. And it's to avoid things like this, which I actually think is a good thing. Does it cost more? yes, and that cost is obviously passed on to me, but I do feel that it's safer. However, one of the things that she does bring is a bag of candy for the bus ride there. That's on the packing list, and it has to be one of those big plastic bags, that are already closed with pre-wrapped candy. But I'm starting to think that, maybe that's not a good idea, because it's probably hard to police that, having food that kids are ingesting from outside. Also on visiting day, which is a big thing in the kind of Jewish camp world, parents bring a lot of things from home. And so I'm sure everyone's going to hate me for saying this, but I'm wondering, if it's not something that you can contain, do we bring that? Because the expectation is, kids are going to share candy. I'm 100% sure that my daughter ate candy from other girls, and good. That's great. That's what kids do. But it did get me thinking as to whether or not really any type of outside food should be allowed at all, especially at overnight camps. So I'd be interested to hear what you all think about this and what your camp's policies are. Again, I'm not here to crap on camps. Like I said, we love my daughters, but I guess.
Okay, we got a couple of them in. Okay, let's do the update on Comey. Trisha had one. I don't know if anybody see that one yet. $19.
What we didn't know up until just a few hours ago was that they were also going after him unbelievably for Russia behind the scenes. Okay, so this was just an orchestrated ordeal. We didn't even know about this other investigation. They called it, how do you like this? Oxford comma. Like the Oxford comma, like when you say this, that, and the other, and you put a comma after each one. But they actually spelled it OXFERD, not Oxford. OXFERD, in part because people think that, well, when they were getting FISA requests in, if anybody had any questions about Oxford comma, that there might be this like spelling error. So either they were doing it for that reason. They might have also been doing it because they were trying to give a nod to Christopher Steele. Remember Christopher Steele? Oh, we got to talk about that. Christopher Steele, who was employed by Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie was the law firm. Here we go. Here's the story coming to us there. This one's in CBS News, although I should point out that John Sullivan was the first to report this today. White House declassifies info on secret FBI probe into whether Trump fired Comey at Russia's behest. So you had Crossfire Hurricane going on, and we all knew about that one. But then they had this other thing, Oxford comma, spelled OXFERD, behind the scenes, that they launched for the whole reason of, how dare he fire Comey? How dare he fire Comey? And they wanted to make sure that somehow things would still come out. But here's the problem, guys. I mean, what was going to come out? Basically nothing, because they already knew at that point. I mean, you had Lisa Page and Peter Strzok going back and forth, right, with their little love letters. And he had already told her there's no there. Like, they knew there was no there. You had one of the FBI agents coming out and saying that there's no there. I mean, but there was no there in a whole bunch of stuff. Mike Flynn, right? They also said the same thing. There was no there. So they knew there was no there. They knew there was no Russia thing. And yet they were continuing on with this anyway. Here we go. Secret new FBI documents reveal Trump was investigated for acting as a Russia agent after James Comey firing. It's like, whoa, all right? We'd already been down this tunnel, I thought. Like, here we are reporting it all out again and again because they had yet another investigation. So the main investigation and then another backroom investigation because they just couldn't give up this whole idea. Here we go. I'm going to read to you from this FBI declassified memo here. They're saying on the 16th of May, 2017, at approximately 12:30 p.m., acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe made notification in person to Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein of the FBI's opening of the captioned matter. This verbal briefing serves to comply with notification requirements. Let's continue on here. And we see that they're saying basically that they're moving forward with this additional investigation. Here's another page I want to show you. We can see it's coming at the director of the assistant director of the FBI's counterintelligence division, following consultation with the Office of the General Counsel. The FBI is opening a full investigation based on an articulable factual basis that, gosh, they don't make this easy to read, right? They responsibly or reasonably indicates that President Donald J. Trump may be or has been wittingly or unwittingly involved in activities for or on behalf of the government of Russia Federation, which may constitute violations of federal, here we go, federal criminal law or threats to the national. Looks like we're having some issues with Starlink. Sorry about that, guys. We might be. Unfortunately, I'm doing my best to get this to you. The FBI, so the criminal law or threats to the national security of the United States. The goal of the investigation is to determine if the president is directed by, controlled by, wow, or coordinated activities with the Russian Federation. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So this is, I mean, this is just unbelievable. So they already knew the answer to all these things. And this is actually going to put them in a whole bunch more trouble. The FBI is now, I think, really going to be in for it. Really, really going to be in for it. This is pretty wild stuff. I want to go to John Solomon again, who was reporting on this from Just the News this morning. Take a look at this.
The big picture is you have an FBI investigating things against Donald Trump they know not to be true, and then they fail to prosecute things that they prove are criminal. You're going to see two things occur. That dual system of justice will be laid bare, and people will say, well, John, at this point, why does it matter? You've been writing this for 10 years. What we're doing, what we're laying out in your show right now, Steve, are overt acts that Joe DeGenova can build into his grand conspiracy case that is now underway. Agents and other witnesses have been hauled before the grand jury in the last few weeks. There's some cooperating witnesses coming forward based on my reporting. These are overt acts. And so today's document is an investigation we previously did not know exist. It was called Oxford, and it was an investigation predicated on the notion that Donald Trump was acting as a Russian agent. He was acting at Vladimir Putin's behest when he fired James Comey for screwing up the Hillary Clinton email case. You just have to let that sink in, because that's literally what the FBI's predicated investigation states. Now, they do this in May of 2017. At the time they do it, in the very week they do it, where they're saying, we have proof Donald Trump's a Russian stooge, and that's why he fired James Comey. Pete Strzok is texting his girlfriend. There's no big there on Russian collusion. An agent named Bill Barnett, has told the FBI there is no evidence of collusion. He worked the Mike Flynn case. The FBI has cleared Mike Flynn of collusion. The FBI has built a spreadsheet showing that every line of the Steele dossier, which is the reason the FBI believed collusion, has been debunked or shown to be internet rumor only. Steele's primary subsource has already done an FBI interview saying, I didn't mean any of that stuff. That was bar talk. That was rumors. I didn't know I was being treated as a source. That's not source-worthy material. And the CIA has told the FBI, oh, Hillary Clinton was behind that whole false Russian narrative. And that guy you've been looking at named Carter Page, he's our guy, a CIA asset. In May of 2017, the FBI had no evidence. In fact, it had plenty of evidence to the contrary that Donald Trump was not a Russian spy, and yet they opened up a criminal investigation claiming that Donald Trump is a Russian stooge who fired James Comey to carry out Vladimir Putin's orders.
Hang on. Slow down.
Yeah.
There's one thing about Crossfire Hurricane and, Trump was a candidate and we were running a campaign, all that. and as horrible as that is, this is a sitting president of the United States. May of 17, I think, was our 4th or 5th month in office. You're telling me that the commander-in-chief of the American Armed Forces had an investigation started by the FBI, and senior officials of the FBI knew about it, that let's forget for the second the people said it's all phony and you can't do that. How could you possibly even commence it if you got the information without senior members of the Justice Department and maybe other people in the government, the CIA, at least going and running it by them? You're starting an investigation of the president of the United States, saying, here's our theory of the case. He is a Russian agent. He is a Russian agent, guilty of treason at the highest levels, in cahoots with Putin. How possibly, this is science fiction, how possibly could that happen without other members of the senior members of the government approving? This is why I say it's just not bad.
Well, here we go. Okay. I just have to explain, Steve is right, by the way, talking again with John Solomon, who was the first to report this early this morning.
The best state to live in right now is Michigan, and nobody's talking about it. I spent the last 30 years as a financial advisor helping everyday people like you save a.
It tells you that someone is going to be in a whole lot of trouble, because this, by the way, is just basically a violation of his civil rights, right? You cannot, just because, you get some kind of instinct, you cannot say, I'm going to go out and target the president of the United States, the sitting president of the United States, whom they already knew at that point was not guilty of being some kind of Russian asset. And yet they pursued this anyway because of, in my opinion, a complete, total political bias against the guy who's coming in, right? The outsider who was coming in. He was intolerable to them. I mean, remember Jimmy Carter and all that Jimmy Carter said, he didn't win the election. Russia stole the election for him. And that was repeated, of course, by Hillary Clinton. And we heard similar rhetoric from all the usual suspects, from Brennan to Comey to Clinton, of course, and McCabe, who seemed to think, remember that interview back, was it in 2019? He did an interview with Anderson Cooper on CNN, and he basically was saying this president is a Russian asset. I mean, they were really trying to advance a narrative, and they did not have the documentation for it. And so they thought, okay, well, we want to make sure we know that the Robert Mueller thing is going on. Actually, I think Robert Mueller was brought in part because of this. And remember, Robert Mueller found nothing. I read both volumes of that thing. There was nothing. The president was not a Russian agent. They made all that up because they were trying to tear him down. And when it seemed like Crossfire Hurricane wasn't going well enough, they initiated this. And that is just inexcusable. It's just inexcusable. I mean, here, let me show you. Here's a little sort of synopsis of it that I put together. Basically, you've got all these key people, the assistant director of the FBI, the senior official who approved opening the case. You've got the FBI general counsel, that would be James Baker, who approved the opening of the electronic communication. You've got Andrew McCabe. You remember him, the Lovebirds with Lisa Page.
Hope everything's good.
Andrew McCabe was the forgive me, no, I got that wrong. It was Peter Strzok. What am I saying? Peter Strzok. Andrew McCabe is a whole other story. He was the guy that was unceremoniously fired. Acting FBI director was formally notified that the investigation had been open. I'm sure he was just tickled to death when he saw that. Rod Rosenstein, he was deputy attorney general, was also notified about it. You had Peter Strzok, who was the deputy assistant director, counterintelligence key figure. We know, and he's the guy. Take a look at this. Around the same time, he was texting his girlfriend, Lisa Page, that there was no big there. So if there was no big there, why was this going on? William Barnett, he was the FBI special agent who worked on Crossfire. He's like, there's nothing. It was like this bad game of Clue. And then you had, Lisa Page, she's involved in this just in that she had a lot of the communications that were being run through her. So this is just totally wild. They came up with a whole other investigation, and they thought they could hide this one from people because they called this not Crossfire Hurricane, but rather, what was it called? I'm even forgetting. I think that was the goal. Oxford comma. Okay, so the Oxford comma, but spelled OXFERD. OXFERD, so that no one in a FOIA request would ever be able to touch on it. And maybe it was some kind of nod to Christopher Steele, who was British, of course. The Oxford comma is kind of a British thing. I mean, this is wild. So Hillary Clinton's team went out and hired Perkins Coie being a DC law firm that went out. I just want to remember the trajectory here. Went out and hired a bunch of ex-Wall Street Journal reporters. These ex-Wall Street Journal reporters are like hitmen for hire. They have a little group called Fusion GPS. One of them used to run investigative journalism at the Wall Street Journal. So, and the Wall Street Journal does good reporting, okay? But apparently you can go out, you can hire these guys, and they'll, dig up all this dirt, and then they'll place it for a fee. And they'll place it with their, pal reporters. So it's like, hitmen, right? From a journalistic perspective, total hitmen. So they went out there, they got Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS goes out and hires Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele digs up a bunch of nonsense, which, any fifth grader could see through as opposition research and not like an actual government report. And then this is what they used to run everything, whether it be Crossfire Hurricane or whether it be what we're seeing here with Oxford comma. I mean, it's pretty alarming. Again, pretty alarming when you see that, despite knowing that there was really nothing there, they're just clinging to this idea that somehow Donald Trump is going to go down. Look at this. The FBI, this is the report that's been declassified as of today, is predicting the investigation or predetermined criteria set forth by the Crossfire Hurricane investigative team based on an assessment of reliable lead information received during the course of the investigation. So this is what they're basing it on. They're like, oh, we got all this stuff from Crossfire Hurricane. The only problem was Crossfire Hurricane was already dead, like DOA. So what are you people doing? Why do you keep on going and going and going and going and going? Because you had to take him out. And, here's the problem for you. This might actually put you in violation of the law. There's a case going on in Florida. I think about 130 subpoenas have already gone out, 130 subpoenas, and they're looking at all the usual suspects and why, if you clicked on this and you see Comey and McCabe under new probe, this is all going to contribute to this because this effectively is a violation of his rights. It's a violation of his rights because they had no right to go out and just continue going after him only because they didn't like him. They didn't like him. And there's a couple laws protecting him here. Now it's going to be hard to prove because they're going to, you can do an investigation effectively for anything. But if you're doing an investigation just because you don't like someone, just because of their politics, that's when it becomes illegal. That's when it becomes a violation of that individual's rights. So this was a sitting U.S. president and his own FBI there goes out and just runs wild. I mean, this whole story is, to me, pretty wild. So good for the White House for getting this stuff out there. And I think it's important that we know, this was going on. And I'll tell you, they didn't like him. They didn't like him because he didn't play ball, right? Most of these presidents come in, they're so psyched just to be president. They really are. They're like, woohoo, I made it to the big leagues. I'm president of the United States of America. Okay, now deep state, what do I do? And they become sort of like a puppet and a figurehead. And those that play the game well, they know the drill. Well, in the case of Donald Trump, you got a guy who's like, okay, I'm president. Okay, I want to roll up my sleeves and get some work done here. This country's not being run well. We need to get to it. Chop, chop. And that really ticked them off. It ticked them off because, everybody else kind of played the game. And then suddenly they get this guy. Who does he think he is? They're saying to themselves, who does he think he is? He's going to come in here and tell us how to run things when we know how to run it. This is what we do. And so because his style was so different, because he assumed that he would have some power, and they're like, how dare you? They were desperate to take him out. They were also, there were some bruised egos. Let's not forget bruised egos because they all thought that Hillary Clinton should have won, could have won, and didn't win. And so they had to come up with an excuse for it. So what better excuse than, the Russians stole it. The Russians stole it. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But I'm so glad this is all coming out because I think people need to know this. And I've always thought it was super sus. I didn't realize there was an investigation behind the investigation going on. That is the new development today. And before anybody says, oh, this is old news, whatever. Immediately when I saw this, I was like, okay, I am confused. I'm confused because we knew about Russia. We knew about the Mueller investigation and we knew about Crossfire Hurricane. And now you're telling me there was I have to keep looking at Oxford, investigation. Like, are you serious? And the answer is yes, we're serious. And this is what has been declassified. So there's a case in Florida right now. They've subpoenaed like 130 people. It's still in the grand jury indictment stage. So this is going to be very important information for those lawyers to have as they bring this forward, because I actually think that some people could find themselves, I don't know as they're going to go to, I don't want to get us out over our skis on this, because I think their defense is going to be, well, you never know. But I think what they're going to find out in the discovery process is that they did know. And so they proceeded with the investigation otherwise, just because they wanted to hurt him. And if you're just trying to hurt him, then you're just trying to hurt the American people now, aren't you? Well, he's back at it. He's back in office.
Okay, coming update. We will do, we'll go to the 4-hour mark and play those 2 15-minute ones. Maybe not. No, we better not. I got some short ones I want to play. Okay. Yeah, this one's a short one. About 5 minutes or so.
It's President Biden. I'm President of the United States, and welcome to my fireside chats. This is another episode. How many of these have we done? It's been a bunch of them. Oh, it's the second one. It's number 2, fireside chats. It's just number 2. Okay. All right. So I'm reading them off the teleprompter. You sent them in via email and telegraph and Morse code, and some of them at Jeff Dunham's shows, and you sent them in. So here we go. This is from Jackie B. Dear President Biden, what are you going to do about inflation? Well, that's easy. I'm going to vote Republican. Wait. Hey, that was a trick question. She tricked me, though. You got me. Wow, I'm really hoping I didn't answer that out loud. Did I? Okay. From Monster Man 37. Oh, I like that name, Monster Man. President Biden, are China's nuclear weapons a true threat to the United States? Well, first of all, China doesn't have any nuclear weapon. Actually, sir, they do.
What do you want?
Oh, they do. Well, I'm not... they're not going to work. I mean, hell, they're made in China. So if they do work, well, they'll work only once. From Gonna Need a Bigger Boat. Oh, I get it. Yeah, he's a Star Wars fan. Okay. Dear President Biden, what is a woman? Oh.
What's a woman?
It always is a tough question nowadays. I would say this. Women are just like men.
Oh, jeez.
But you can pay them less. Ask my vice president. She doesn't get crap. Here's one from Barbara Reynolds. Thank you, Barbara. Dear President Biden, are you running in 2024? Why not? I ran in 1924. All right, from Jonathan S. President Biden, what are your thoughts about prosecutors that are soft on crime? Well, if I'm soft on anything, I take that little blue pill. I can even make it rhyme. Here comes Jill. I need the pill. From Quentin. President Biden, what is on Hunter's laptop? Well, usually it's a blonde. From Guillermo del Taco. I think that's a fake name. President Biden, a Google programmer said that artificial intelligence is now sentient. Is that true? Well, I don't know. I had to Google what sentient means. Then I had to Google what Google means. So, in conclusion, I think that some machines are self-aware and smarter than us. I mean, a lot of the time, I get outsmarted by my garage door opener. And hell, my administration just nominated my Roomba as Secretary of the Interior. Rusty T.
What do you guys think of this one?
President Biden, did you hear that Hillary is coming for you in 2024? Well, that explains the text I got from Bill. It said, better you than me. And I think it's great that Caitlyn is way hotter than her. From Stanky S. All right, Stanky. President Biden, are you going to run in 2024? No, I'm going to shuffle. From Shelley Sistrin. All right, Shelley. Dear President Biden, are you now going to ban bicycles since apparently they're so dangerous to you? Oh, really? You think that's funny? I don't think that's funny at all. I'm sick and tired of this stupid question because you know what? Well,
so that was a good one. That was a day old. Do a few more here, you guys. Oh. All right.
Islam. You just mentioned met that girl coming back in a coffin the other day. Why? Because they broke a treaty. The fire missiles over there and killed her. I mean, you can't believe a damn word that these people say. How many treaties have they broken? Is manipulation is over and over. You don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're going to do. Nobody can prove it. And until you can prove it solidly, it's got to be stopped. It's got to be stopped. I mean, I've been in the military. I got a son right now. He's commander of the Arctic Airborne Unit right now. And I mean, we're worried. We're worried. I don't want to see my son come back in a casket too, because these people can't tell the damn truth. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold. Thank you for your service to our country, Mr. Arnold.
Hello, my name is Eddie Issa. I'm a Sharia law survivor from Iran. And I'm here to tell you, this is a dangerous ideology you're allowing in their country. Every country that is Islamic now, it used to be a Christian country. And we were soft Christians, and we allowed these people to come in, bring their Sharia law into their countries and slowly kill us off left and right. Let me make it very clear to you. Christianity is a personal relationship with God, where it says, render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. Islam is Sharia law, deen wa dawah, religion and state, which is not even compatible with the American thing. And when these people will use taqiyya to lie to you, to manipulate you, because whenever Islam is little, they will lie to you and tell you they come in peace. This is level one. Level two is what's happening in UK right now, where you have two-tier policing, where you have like the blasphemy laws, Islamophobia, racism, all this nonsense that they talk about. First of all, Islam is not a race. So anytime you criticize Islam, they will use the race card. But every country has this disgusting ideology inside their country, including my own country, Iran, Russia. Islamophobia is another made-up bullshit because they don't want you to criticize their death cult. That's why they will put that. That's why they push it in UK. In every country they go to, M103 is in Canada right now. They deliberately try to silence us. And the worst people that are trapped in it is Muslims themselves, because they can't lead that death cult. Because they're told, if you question that disgusting book, you're called a kuffar. And they get killed over it, just like my friends who are apostates in prison or dead right now in Iran. I'm telling you, this is a bad idea, and you're going to regret not listening to people like us who lived under Sharia law.
Thank you, Eddie. Not only here in Bikini, but going around the world fighting Islam. You just mentioned met that girl coming back in a coffin the other day.
with our other lady. I thought that was okay, wasn't it? We got 2 with her. It's this one. Well, dang it. Last 2.
Wins for the American people fast. Because if they don't, come November, the country could take a hard left turn so sharp, it's going to give us all whiplash. I mean, we're talking about a direction that would make George Washington double check if he signed the right document. But before we get into what's at stake, we have to celebrate a few political casualties from last night. Honestly, grab some popcorn, because a couple of those deserve a very slow clap. First out in Missouri, incumbent Representative Wesley Bell just handed former squad darling Cori Bush a primary loss. Bush ran on the ultimate extreme left starter pack: abolish ICE, strip funding from Israel, and wear her Democratic Socialists of America badge like a Medal of Honor. Missouri voters looked at that platform and said, yeah, no thanks. Sending a squad member packing in middle America, it's like watching a bad reality TV contestant finally get voted off the island. Satisfying for everybody to watch. And then over in Detroit, Michigan, Shree got absolutely crushed. This is the guy who made a career out of filing frivolous impeachment articles against Donald Trump. He's got a resume full of scandals, such as defrauding investors and abusing beagles. Voters finally hit the eject button. Shree now gets to join Cori Bush, Eric Swalwell, Al Green, and the rest of the professional Trump haters in the unemployment line. Unfortunately, that's where the common sense hit a brick wall for the Democrats last night. In Michigan's Senate primary, Socialist candidate Abdul El Sayed managed to knock off Haley Stevens. This is the same guy who went on record with one of the most absurd, unhinged takes you'll ever hear directed at Republican lawmakers. Roll it.
They are running to represent a state that has the highest per capita number of Muslim Americans in the country. Now, you might not hate racist Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you.
Seriously, how does anybody vote for this guy? I'll tell you what, the Democrats just handed Republicans an absolute gift wrapped with a bow by making this guy their Senate nominee. Comments like that are going to be playing on a continuous loop on TV screens from now until November. Makes you wonder, are Republicans in a better spot running against these radical off-the-wall candidates, or is it a major risk? Let me know what you think down below. Because even Democrat Senator John Fetterman, who's become the unexpected voice of reason in his party lately, thinks this primary victory could hand the seat directly to Republican Mike Rogers.
Do you think he could lose to Mike Rogers?
Oh, 100% that's possible, without a doubt. I mean, the polling seems to indicate that it is in danger.
So how should members of your party, the Democratic Party, come together to defeat the Republican candidate?
Yeah, well, I can't come together with someone if you are willing to embrace people that loves Hamas or that thinks America deserved 9/11. I think that's reasonable, and I think that's the reasonable view. Being able to kind of be like, well, maybe and try to ignore those things. That's not a big tent situation. There are things that are unacceptable to have these views as a Democrat.
That right there is common sense. That's the kind of message that should be coming from every adult in the Democratic Party. Instead, most Democrat leaders are hiding under their desks, letting the far left hijack the entire steering wheel. And what's even crazier is the people they're handing microphones to. Take Hassan Piker. Elections have come.
Okay, one more, you guys. Our second one here. And what day is tomorrow? Tomorrow, Friday?
Wisconsin campaigning for an extreme candidate, essentially telling the crowd, we're going to grab power and we're never going to give it back.
The reason why I brought up Michigan is because I think it was Michael Moore in 2016 who said, Michigan's not a swing state. And neither is Wisconsin. These are not swing states. They've been turned into swing states because they've left you behind. But we are going to bring back the working class to both Wisconsin and to Michigan. A Republican will never be elected in this state ever again once our movement is done.
They want complete control over your life, your wallet, your kids' schools, and they don't plan on asking for permission, by the way. And let's not forget who we're dealing with here. This is the same guy actively campaigning for future members of Congress who openly admitted on camera that he doesn't even support America.
You support terrorism, question mark? No, I don't. I don't support the state of Israel. And I don't support the state of the United States of America.
And if you thought that was as low as the bar goes, hold on to your seats, folks, because it actually gets worse.
Oh, let's talk about our favorite flags.
Oh, like overall, what my favorite flag?
Yeah.
Hezbollah. Look it up.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag.
A dope flag? He's talking about a designated terrorist organization like he's ranking NFL jerseys. How did we reach a point where someone who openly admits he doesn't support America and fangirls over terrorist flags is out on the campaign trail for congressional candidates? In a sane country, that's not just a red flag, that's an immediate political ejection. Even CNN looked visibly uncomfortable and tossed Bernie Sanders a total softball to disavow this guy. But instead of taking the easy exit, Bernie basically said, hey, who among us hasn't praised a terrorist group during a 3-hour podcast?
To give you an example, one of the more controversial ones is that Piker has said America deserved 9/11. Are you comfortable with that association?
No, I am not. I think that's a dumb statement. On the other hand, he has a whole lot of followers, and there's a lot of things that he's saying that are making sense to a lot of people. I think, we have to get above cancel culture. When you're doing radio, whatever they do, podcasts 3 hours a day, you say dumb things. I suspect if you go back over your career, there may be one or two things that you said that you may have regretted. But I think what we have got to do is look at the totality of where people are coming from and go forward.
So when someone like James Carville says he doesn't want to be in the same political party as Hassan Piker, which one are you going to take?
Well, that's not much of a choice. If Mr. Carville doesn't want to be in my party, the party that I belong to, that Piker, that Syed belongs to, he can start his own party. But I think we need a big tent, and I think people like Piker should be welcome into that, certainly.
Unbelievable. So saying America deserved 9/11 is just a whoopsie moment now? A little slip of the tongue because you've been talking too long? I used to do 5-hour morning shows every day for cable news. I've never accidentally endorsed a terrorist attack. And look at what Bernie does to James Carville, a seasoned Democratic strategist who actually remembers what it takes to win an Piker, a left-wing internet.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to catch up with her. I'm way behind her clips. All right, you guys. Well, I'm glad I didn't play those other long ones. I got some short ones in. So, a lot of good stuff today. So, weather's here. Finally got a little rain, I think we did. It's cooling down a little bit. Okay, I hope you're okay at the dentist. How are the two little ones doing? And then, thanks, Mod. I go, let's see, Carol. Okay, just came in. And everybody else, you guys have a good Friday, and we'll see what happens. Wait, is tomorrow the number 7? They're going to be talking about that, right? The number 7 date tomorrow. So, no Billy Bean today. That's kind of odd. All right, guys. God bless everybody. Love all. Make sure you hit the like button, please. And stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith. Never give up. And signing off, Chico Dude and his cousins, Ariella and Little Bella. And we'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon around 3, unless something develops, if anything happens. Have a good one.